All right. Welcome to
Getting some exercise. Oh, you're so cute. You're so sweet. Babies. Outside in the sun. Get some exercise.
these chicks are awesome.
I can't believe how much they've grown already. And the four littlest ones, you can see how little they are compared to the rest.
Yeah.
I have four little Bantams, and then I have a different coop that I'm going to keep them in away from the other ones once they get big enough where they can keep themselves warm. Because I have to keep them under heat lamps in the house until they're feathered. Their bodies just have that little downy stuff on them, and they can't conduct their own. They can keep their heat without feathers.
I'm a big fan of poultry. I don't seem like it. You think I'd be big on pigs and a little bit more on beef, which I actually prefer. I really prefer beef and pigs, but chickens are freaking amazing because you have so much opportunity to have, like, with just 2 hens per person, you can keep the house fed in eggs every day.
Well, it depends on the breed of chicken because all chickens don't lay an egg every single day.
Yeah.
They'll lay over 200 and something eggs a year, unless they're Bantams. Bantams lay like maybe 4 eggs a week. And plus, it depends on how long the sun's up. So in the winter, they won't lay as much because the day is shorter. I'm a hillbilly girl.
Got a bunch of carnivores in the chat today. We got Shadow and Sun getting in before the bell. Hello, sir. How you doing? And Six Nation 31 Kings. My good friend Farmatron. Hey. The Crafting Gamer.
Yeah, little raptors. That's exactly what they are. And they'll eat meat. I don't know. I remember when I was really young, my mom liked Johnny Carson, and I think it was Johnny Carson that did it, but maybe it was the other guy that took his place. What was his name?
Jay Leno.
Jay Leno. It might have been that show. I just remember they had like chicken McNuggets on there, and they brought a chicken out and said, "Well, a chicken eat a chicken McNugget." And chickens are carnivores. They'll eat meat. They'll tear a lizard to shreds. That's how you can tell they're related to dinosaurs, because you can watch them. And when you have a T-Rex running around with those little bitty arms, you don't think it could be that destructive. But when you watch chickens go to town with that beak and they're running on those big legs like an ostrich or whatever, and they'll tear something to shreds. I mean, mice, whatever frogs, snakes, lizards, whatever they can get, they'll eat it. Hoping to order a gator for this summer to eat or as a pet. Fladies said that in the chat.
Yeah, I saw that. Fladies like, that's a 20-piece McNugget right there.
Yeah.
And then he's like, healthy bunch of little velociraptors you got there. I love eating flesh.
I'm trying to work my way up because I would really like to work my way up to understand chickens enough to be able to get me some of those big ones. I'm trying to remember what they're called right now, but they get really big. I mean, there's no way.
Guinea pigs? Guinea bird?
It's like a, oh God, I can't remember. I can't remember what they're called. They're giant chickens. They're just humongous. They're like turkeys, but they're chickens. Brahmas, I think that they're called, the big ones. And I mean, they could fight a dog off, a normal sized dog. But the thing is, you won't be able to have hawks be able to swim, or falcons and stuff fly down and pick one up because these are huge. So, but you have to have a big space for them because, and you can't have little chickens around because the big rooster will, pretty much tear the little chickens to shreds, if he tries to breed them. I don't want that. I don't want a bunch of dead chickens laying everywhere because of my mean rooster. But that would be funny to see a little bitty Bantam rooster trying to go for one of them big Brahma girls. That would be funny to have if he had a little GoPro hooked on it.
Yeah. I just don't want to see chicken porn.
It'd be funny though, because you can order arms that kind of go over the shoulders, over the back of the chicken, and they just stick out like that, and they run around. And it looks like they got arms. I mean, there's all kinds of fun stuff you can order for chickens.
Shadow and Sun inquires, how's everybody doing tonight? How's everyone doing tonight? He asks. Janet, how are you
I
doing?
said hello. I'm doing good. I'm happy. My chickens are all alive, and I've kept them warm and fed and happy apparently so far.
I'm going to need to show you what Tim Pool, or Tim Fool as I call him.
Yeah, you
Tim
showed
Pool,
me his little coop.
He's got a live stream chicken. That fucking thing rakes in money. Because people super chat it. Nobody's there to respond. So,
well,
Janet.
He's famous. He's famous. Maybe if when you get famous, you can have Janet's live chicken ranch. That's what I'm calling it. My little chicken ranch. Because isn't that what Dolly Parton called her thing, her chicken ranch?
I will get completely Heidelberged on this. Yes, I will do it. Granddad used to get his hands tore up harvesting eggs as a kid. Yes. Chickens will do their best to, oh, you're going for that? Let me tear your hands up.
Well, I put golf balls in there, and so when you take a couple eggs out, they don't get so upset because it still feels like they have eggs under them, but they're not. They're golf balls. So that's what I use.
Yep, food. Couple $100 for a full prep gator for smoking. That sounds pretty okay.
Yeah, I love gator. Is so good. It's delicious.
I love gator tail. There is a Choke Canyon barbecue near you if you're in South Texas. They sell fried alligator bites. It's delicious.
I like frog's legs. Still one of my very favorites. And escargot. I love escargot too.
They're talking about the weather. Lady says the Tim Pool makes about $10K a month on that chicken feed.
That pays for all his feed and everything.
Yeah, that if $10K a month.
Does he even take care of the chickens himself, or is he so rich he can have a chicken handler?
I think he handles them himself right now. He's still doing the sustainable stuff, but he'll probably hire some people if he has not already. He has a staff for his live feed, but he still gets his hands wet and dirty with the chickens, which I'm proud of him about. That's the only manual labor that man has ever done.
Yeah, I almost took a video and was going to show underneath my fingernails after I was out there working on my coop and stuff. And I was like, no, I won't do that. I should wear gloves. I always say I need to because my hands get so itchy between my fingers and stuff because I'm allergic to chickens. But I still take care of them. That's why my allergies are so bad since the chickens have been in the house. I can't wait to get them where I can go out because now they're starting to fly out and, be on the ground, and I can hear them in there squawking because they're trying to get back in there with the other babies. And I have to go in there. Like the other day when we were playing DD, I had to run in there like 4 times to put chicks back in the little tub that I've got them in.
You and Chris both have a healthy little flock going on.
Well, I have big chickens too. That's why I have to have a little coop in there because I have to have somewhere to keep them until they're big enough to defend themselves from the big chickens because the big chickens can peck them to death. So I put a little coop in the run and some of them sleep. I have bamboo, going across in different directions, and some of them sleep in there, and a couple sleep in the coop area. So until they get a little big enough, almost old enough to lay eggs, then I'll start taking them out and putting them in the coop on a piece of bamboo, and then I can take the little coop out.
I guess I should probably talk about what we're talking about tonight.
The movie, that's right.
Yeah,
I can talk about chickens all day.
Talking about chickens and tornadoes and like food. We're going to discuss on episode 49 of Girl, a Guy, and a Movie, the 1999 classic Payback with Mel Gibson, Maria Bello. Quite a cast. John Forsythe. What's his name? Goddamn.
Who was he? The blonde guy that was the asshole?
No, that's Greg
Henley or something.
I'll pull it up here in just a second. Pro streamer moment.
Oh, Papa likes my hair. You do?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not going to dye it blonde. This is a wig, but it's as close. I've done my hair in this style before with a straightener because my hair is a lot curlier than this. But I was blonde a long time ago, and it didn't help me at all. And it's a lot of work when you're not a natural blonde. But thank you.
Gibson.
I like it.
Greg Henry plays Val Resnick, the asshole. Maria Bello plays Rosie, the girlfriend. Lucy Liu plays Pearl, the interesting dominatrix.
I loved Lucy Liu in this movie. She was so good and sexy, boy. She looked really good.
Yeah, David.
To be comfortable in an outfit like that and to be able to do the stuff that she was doing and not crack up laughing, but still be sexy, you know what I mean? And confident to wear hardly any clothes and do all the stuff that she was doing. She's a good actress.
Yeah, she's a great actress.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
That's
really hard to do that. To focus on it. Sorry.
Papa Cotton's like, that's just mean, man. James Coburn has the steam ceiling exclamation when his alligator luggage gets shot. He's just shooting my luggage. Oh, you gonna kill me too?
I forgot that he was in that movie. When I saw James Coburn in that scene, it reminded me of the scene we did with Maverick, because it was the same two actors getting to work together again, but in two totally different characters, which I thought was pretty cool. So, yeah, he was a good actor too.
You got Deborah Kara Unger, who played Mrs. Lynn Porter, the Porter's wife at the start of the film.
Yeah, she's so pretty.
Don't fall in love with her, boys. She kind of dies in the early stages, Act 1. Yeah, Bill Duke and Jack Conley as the two corrupt cops in this film. Mm-hmm. Then underneath Chris Christopherson, you got William Devane and James Coburn. And you got a guy by the name of John Glover who plays Phil in this movie. And then Freddie Rodriguez plays a punk messenger. Gets his
I know. When I saw him, that wasn't John Leguizamo?
No.
Okay, because that's who I thought it was. I was like, he's that young? I mean, no. I thought he would be a lot older, but now I know who he is. He was the guy that played one of the morticians in the TV show Dexter, right?
Yes.
Oh, he was so cute. I loved him in Dexter, and I thought he was adorable in this movie, especially when he got the thing on his nose ripped out. That was so awesome. That was a really good scene. It was very believable, and it was smart on his part, because I never would have thought about pulling something off someone's nose to get them to open their eyes and realize you're going to kick their ass. You know what I mean? I thought it was a really good scene.
He also plays Christian Bale's best friend in the movie Harsh Times, which, if you've not seen that, that's a really good movie. That you can like enjoy that with your buddies, but like your wife or spouse will probably be upset you watched it, because It's really asshole-ish. There's like some real like that's a good show for 32 Flavors and Nick Weiser to do. And I'm gonna have to
Oh,
talk to
it's
him.
toxic. It's toxic
It's
masculinity.
toxic masculinity night.
Well,
I
I
love
really
32
like some of
Flavors.
those toxic movies. It's it depends. I mean, as long as they're not. Uh, I don't like movies where they're toxic, but and the men are mean to the women. You know what I mean, or treat
Yeah.
them trashy and stuff. I'm not into those. But I like a man that's beating guys up to protect the women. You know, that kind of stuff. I think that's really good. So I think
Well,
that's
good
hot.
man. How you doing? Hope that Canada is a little saner today. I wish America was a little saner today. Okay. I you've never seen this movie before in your life, and I'm a terrible person. I'm going to explain to you how I saw this movie back in 1999. I was in Big Brothers Big Sisters,
Hmm.
and they only had the requirement you need to spend 2 hours with this kid every week. And I'm like, well, fuck it, we're going to go see a movie. And I looked at him and I said, does your mom let you watch R-rated movies? Yeah, all the time. And I asked her, I said, do you let him watch R-rated movies? And she's like, yeah, I let him watch them all the time. And I said, okay, well, he's going to go watch a Mel Gibson movie with me tonight. She's like, can I come too? I said, no, it's not like family night.
Not a date.
It's not a date. I'm taking your son to go see this movie because it's out and there's nothing else. There was nothing else in the theaters to see.
Yeah.
No kids movies. And I'm like, fuck it, we're gonna go see a Mel Gibson movie. And we go to watch it, and I feel like an asshole because I'm watching this movie with like a 9-year-old damaged kid. And like the first part of the movie where the lady finds her own heroin in a little happy box,
Mhm.
Lucian tells us in the entire movie there's like, my mom's got that stuff.
Oh God.
Like, I feel
Oh, how
bad.
sad.
I feel bad. So
Well, I wasn't in a group like that. I was a cadet. I was in Brownies, and then I did Girl Scouts, and then I was a cadet. So I went through that whole thing because that was real big in the Air Force bases. I don't know. I don't know if you know that much about Air Force, but
no,
that was one of
well,
the things that I signed up for and when you were a cadet, you got to do a lot of things, mentoring with the Girl Scouts and sometimes with the Brownies. You know, it was like you earned badges that you'd wear on your little sashes and stuff. So I did that, but it wasn't called Big Brothers or Big Sisters or anything. But I remember what you were talking about.
Big Brothers Big Sisters is supposed to be like a nationwide, like you've got a couple extra hours a week, and so you can like be a positive person in a young person's life
Hmm.
who is probably going to fall out of school, or they're going to turn into like a convenience store robber, or they're going to be like a problem.
Yeah, a criminal.
And that's what BBBS is.
Mhm.
It really is. It's like it's the last chance. Like a kid has a chance to see like what normal quote unquote normal people do, you know. And so like you try like to thank God this is in the '90s when cell phones weren't everywhere, and like I couldn't pull up Reddit. Hey, you want to look at some dommy mommies right now? You want to look at some big busty fucking big titty goth girls? No, you know you take them out to the arcade. You play a few pinball games. You feed them some food, and you ask them, "Why are you doing so shitty in math? Why are you doing so shitty in history? What's wrong?" And then you make a report to like the school and the BBBS people, like, "Okay, here's his problems, and the problems may be at home." Well, this poor kid had a mom that couldn't control him, and she needed a guy in her life. I'm not going to deny that. Every time I went to pick him up, there's a different dude at the door. And I'm like, I'm with Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Hi, I'm here for Lucian. And then the mom would scream at him, Lucian, Bruce is here. And like 2 times she came out of the bedroom, and I wish she had stayed in the bedroom. And like it wasn't good. So yeah, but normal, I prefer the term less fucked up. Yeah, completely. So I get this kid that's like on his last legal leg, and I felt sorry for him. His mom was a nice lady, but like I probably caused her suicide. And I'm going to be honest with that because like I I told them like the worst thing in his life is his mother. His mom doesn't have a firm grip on reality. She gets beat up by him. She gets beat up by all the dudes she invites over. She drives me to want to drink. When I after I deal with her, I have to avoid a bar for like 2 hours because I would go in and I would just pound like a 6 pack right there. I just give me a sixer of PBR, dude. Don't fruit this shit up. Just give me the man drinks and let me get obliterated. And that was it. I took this kid to see this movie, and Janet, you want to give us your opinion of the first act of this film, the first like 30 minutes?
Okay. The first opening part, it was him laying on a like a slab. So you didn't know what was going on. But you see this guy, at first I thought it was Wilford Brimley. Do you remember him? Okay. And it wasn't, but that's who I thought it was. And he's smoking and he's pouring himself some kind of booze. It looks really stout and cheap. And he's guzzling it down. And then he puts some forceps and it looks like a scalpel down in the same cup that he was just drinking out of. And then he walks over and then you see Mel Gibson laying there and he doesn't look good. I mean, you don't know if he's going to live or if this is like the ending of the movie and they just put it at the beginning. You know how they do that sometimes to go back so you can see what happened to him before he dies or whatever. So that's what you see. And then the story starts because he does a voiceover for it. And he starts talking about what happened to him and how he ended up where he's at and that he can't go to the hospital because of his situation. So it was a pretty good opening. And it reminded me a little bit of some of his other movies, you know, like the one with Danny Glover. Those movies. Yeah, Lethal Weapon movies. And then Bird on a Wire type personality.
Wow.
Character wise, to me, that's what I was thinking about watching. Because remember, I hadn't seen this one. I was really surprised I hadn't seen this movie before, but it was really, really good. But
backstage, I revealed to you that this is probably my number 8 favorite film of all time. And when I lived with my cousin in Corpus Christi while I was doing not oil field things, this movie, I would come home and my cousin's kids would have this movie in the DVD player. And so we just watch it again because they'd already watched it once when they got home from school. Mm-hmm. That's probably not a responsible adult movie, but whatever.
I wouldn't let my kid watch it. I mean, there's a lot of killing in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as violent as I was expecting it to be. Even though a lot of people died, it wasn't like some of the other movies that you've had me watch where people are like completely bludgeoned to death or stabbed to death and lots of blood shooting out, you know, and all that stuff. So
what are you saying?
This one, people, you know, the to me, I was surprised on the one scene where he puts the pillow on the one person's head. I'm not going to say who it is, and he takes him out.
Oh yeah. Well, this movie is like 20 years old, so spoilers.
No, I'm not worried with the spoiler, but we haven't gotten to that scene yet. But the part that really cracked me up and I really was like, I'm going to like this movie was the scene where he's walking down the street. Okay. And you see the guy sitting in the street and he's got a cup and his legs are out and he's talking about, I'm crippled, help a crippled guy, you know, help a crippled guy out, whatever, with some money. And he had bunches of ones and a bunch of change and stuff in there. And you see Melvin Gibson he takes all his money out, all the bills, and the guy says, "There goes, what you doing?" And he goes, "Oh, shut up! I cured you," because he stood up. I started laughing, and I was like, "Damn, this movie's gonna be good," and it was. So it was a really good, motivating for me to get me. Because at first seeing him like that, you know what I mean, on the slab, I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be a sad, depressing, you know." Shoot 'em up movie is what I was thinking. And then when you got to see what he was going through before all this started happening, when he's talking about it, and I got to see that one scene, it really livened me up. And I wrote that down because I thought that was funny. Shut up, I cured you.
I love that. That's like one of my favorite.
quotes from the movie. And when I bought this movie, my dad hadn't seen it yet. So like I had the chance to break in another person to have them see it for the first time. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think my wife has seen it. So I get like one more cherry to pop. It's awesome. I'm
She'll like it. I think she'll like it. I mean, I
Yeah.
really, really enjoyed this movie.
I love this film. And the fact that Lucian and I left the theater and he says to me, he's like, Bruce, have you ever killed anybody? I said, well, probably not, but I mean, I've done bad things, but I mean, you know, that was like, you know, Navy time. And he's
Mhm.
like, what do you mean Navy time? I said, well, like you get told to do things, but you're in like a compartment in a small room and you can't see what's going on outside the ship. You're just turning dials and stuff.
Mhm.
So all I was doing was just following like the directions and setting dials here and doing this there. And I was under the information that nobody was there where we were aiming at. However, whenever I got put in Spain, I got into a nasty fight and I don't remember how it ended, but I lived. He's like, what do you mean you lived? I said, well, there was blood on my knuckles and
Oh.
my face wasn't cut up and I wasn't bleeding to death in a gutter. I
Mhm.
know that I beat the hell out of somebody because my buddies saw me start on some guy and they got me the hell out of there. And then the freaking base command is or the people that I'm talking to, the people that are directly above me in medical are like, we've received information. You're not supposed to leave the base anymore. So you give us your facsimile of your ID so we
Mhm.
can keep you here and that way we can keep you safe. And that was about 3 days of me staying in Rhoda where like I don't know what happened. I know I was drunk, but we washed our hands of it. Like, listen, I was being a good guy, somebody else was not being a good guy. And Lucian's like, wow, that's cool. I said, no, it's not, because like there's a missing chunk of memory that I should be able to watch when I think about
Was
it.
it from drinking?
Yo, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Thank goodness. I was hoping it wasn't anything else.
I was over in Rhoda, and that was where I had a hernia repair surgery done. And 2 weeks after I was done with my hernia repair, I was kind of bored, and the captain that was in medical was going to be on duty the next 2 weekends, and he's like, "Well, I'm not going to have you take me driving out into the city of Spain. So if you want to just hang out in Rhoda, you can." And so they gave me like a copy of my ID card, and I had to show that to the gate because when you're on convalescence leave, your
Mhm.
military ID used to go to your command,
Yeah.
give it back to you before you leave. And so I'm away from my ship, I'm getting sutured up, and after like 2 weeks, they're like, okay, you can go to the beach. Don't go to the beach at night. You can go out on the town. Don't go in these areas. And I didn't I just know I got really drunk one night because I remember there was a bottle of brandy.
But you were with people, right?
I was ahead of them. I
Oh,
was
okay.
I
'Cause
was an idiot.
if they pulled you out of there, they must have seen you doing something you weren't supposed to.
They
Maybe
were like
you
a
could have.
block behind me,
Oh,
and
okay.
they saw me get jumped, and I know I head butted somebody, and that's where memory stops.
Oh, that makes sense.
and, and I will say that in Spain, I was thinking about this the whole time when I'm walking around Rhoda. Like they've got people have their walls at the sidewalk. You don't enter their yard. There's a wall there. You can
Mhm.
walk on the sidewalk. Don't go in their yard. Their yard has a wall, and they have glass shards sticking up, broken bottles. Tetanus is there.
Mhm.
Don't fuck with the walls. Don't try to go over them. Don't try to get in somebody's property. It's a very nice way for like clear delineation. You're responsible for your idiocy. And
You got to read the chat.
Bruce needed a wingman, wait, a butt buddy. Yeah, I needed somebody there closer to me that would have probably stopped the fracas. I know when I start remembering, the fight for me began and ended with the headbutt, and about maybe an hour or two later, I'm in a shower and I see somebody bagging up my clothes in a 13-gallon trash bag. and they're like, "We're not going to talk about
You're
this."
a lucky guy that you had people that loved you enough or cared enough about you to try to help you out so that you wouldn't spend the rest of your life in a
It
Spain
was a
prison.
Navy ensign that just got promoted out of being a midshipman that was hanging out with me, and I think he saw his driver get into a bad scrap, and like they decided to catch up real fast. So they were wrapping up the kidney they took from you. Yeah, no, I still have both my kidneys.
Oh, that's funny.
Next week, this turns into PBR. I just found out PBR is a San Antonio brand.
But isn't it that some kind of saying when people say your best, if they were your best friend, they'd be sitting in jail with you,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. Like,
So apparently you didn't go to jail, so they kept you
I
from going to jail.
I did not go to jail. I did not. I did not have to deal with base politics in Rhoda, which is a funky international base, and everybody just kind of like smiles and gets along with each other. But I saw and partook in a lot of fistfights in Rhoda because like American Navy gets spit on there, and like you realize pretty fast, like, holy shit, there's a lot of Navy dudes in this bar, and we're gonna fight. And fight we did. We Rhoda was fun. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay. So anyway, we have this little boy, Flady, come back tomorrow and watch if you can. We had a lot of fun in Rhoda. I got a chance to meet a lot of really decent people over there, and I almost re-upped because of my time in Rhoda, but then the Navy came out in full force and started talking about some bad ideas, and I'm like, oh, never mind. let me do reserve time. And then I paid for it because reserve time, I should have just done active.
You,
8 years active.
Flady. Bye.
Yeah.
Have a good night. Thank you for stopping by.
But we watched this movie, me and Lucian, this little boy who's like 9 years old. And after we get done watching a film at like 9 at night, I get to a payphone because they were still a thing in 1999. I call his mom. I said, hey, I want to take Lucian out for some ice cream. And she's like, that's great. I'm kind of busy at home, if you understand what I mean. I said, good. Hey, Papa Cotton.
He likes my hair.
It-
I'm
it-
glad he likes it because that's the only thing different. I mean,
Dude, she would look smoking hot as that chick from Star Trek: The Motion Picture. I'm just
the
saying.
bald one.
Yep.
Oh, I have to get me a skinhead thing.
Persia, what's her name? She was in Megaforce
I have a
too.
picture of me like that. I'm gonna send it to you. Give me a second.
Uh-oh.
Hold on.
We're about to.
You can share it. I gotta go on my pictures real quick.
Dude, Rhoda, like Legion of Myth is talking about how he was the impetus for Rhoda fishing its SIPRNet, SIPRNet infrastructure back in 2012, 2014. And SIPRNet was not anything we used in 96, 95, 94. No, they didn't have that shit. Rhoda was like behind the times. It was the keep on the borderlands Navy base, literally. And like every Navy would go there to Rhoda, hang out, get drunk. The Air Force would go to Rhoda and they'd get drunk. And they'd get drunk so bad, like Rhoda was a separation base. Rhoda was a separation base. When you were getting out of Germany or out of somewhere that was not friendly or not great, you'd go to Rhoda and you would go through your physicals and all that crap and then process out. And then they fly you back to Philadelphia and then you go to your home of record. That was what Rhoda was doing in 95 for a little bit. Well, the Air Force was responsible for these giant flights that were basically ugly ass C-747s that were trying to be like civilian flights. And so you could fly your family overseas back to the States. And Rhoda had these flights full of Air Force staff that realized being in Rhoda was more cool than flying back across the Atlantic. And so they would delay your flight by 3 days because everybody would be on a bender.
Yeah.
That was Rhoda, Spain. That was my experience with Rhoda, Spain. You're going to go back on this date. You're going to go back on this date. Nope. No, no, wait. Your crew got held up. They're going back on this date. Wait, your crew had to get their anthrax shot. You're going back on this date.
I never got to go to Spain. Was it beautiful though?
I will have to get my photographs from Spain and have to show you guys that on the stream someday. But I loved it. Most of my photographs are gone. I still have my Rota photographs, but I went to like Seville and Barcelona and Palma de Mallorca, and I could have been like all my other Navy buddies that were not gay, and they married some Spaniard and they stayed there in Spain the rest of their days. Like I know a ton of dudes that they did that. That was like the king move, like what Legion of Myth did, where he said, you know, I married a Japanese lady while I was in Japan, and I am the weeaboo, and he's completed his task of marrying properly. You know, he got the geeky wife, and you know he's got the good life going on. Most guys I met, whenever they would find a Spaniard lady, the Italians call it the thunderbolt. The thunderbolt is the thing you get hit by when you see somebody that's just so beautiful, or they have a resonance about them that you identify with, and you want to like make sure the next time and every time she has sex from then on out, it's with you. And that's the thunderbolt. That's like what you know when you meet somebody that's got that about them. That's the thunderbolt. And a lot of dudes I know got hit by the thunderbolt.
Well,
Spain.
they have a beautiful olive complexion, Spaniards, right?
Olive or really Irish white. And I hate to say that in a derogatory term because I don't want to make it sound like, oh, they're just white girls. No, the Spanish girls I met there were like either olive complected or they had that apricot complexion. That means that they were going to birth roofers that couldn't roof for more than 30 minutes without like shade. They were going to make some very, very pasty white people. And that's fine, you know, because Spain is cool like that, and it's really interesting. You do have some Portuguese that are there too, and I always found them to be actually more they have the darker melanin, almost like what you see here in South Texas with a lot of the tribal blood. Legion Myth says, I never had rice fever until I met my wife.
Rice fever? Is
Rice
she
fever.
Asian?
He said rice fever.
Yeah, it's because she's Asian.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
She's 100% Japanese.
Well, I mean, they're beautiful. A lot of beautiful women from around the world.
She's a gorgeous lady who does not let him sing. And it'll be Friday night coming up that I will have him sing on stream again for money.
Well, I mean, you got to have something, you know, that attracts you to someone at first, but there's got to be something else, you know what I mean? So if he fell in love with her, then she had to have other things besides just her beauty. You know?
They've been married for over 10 years. They've been married for 10 years. They endured the COVID lockdown.
Oh, he said not to shave my head because he saw that picture, because I shared it in my Discord. But I sent it to you, Bruce, on Discord, that picture. It's a little video, but it's like a video, but it's not. It's like a whatever you call those, a GIF. It kind of moves a little bit. But I think she's beautiful, that woman from Star Trek, even bald. But yeah, I just saw that. He said, don't shave your head. Don't worry, I won't shave my head. The only way I'd go bald is if I had cancer and I had treatment. There it is. See? That's what I'd look like bald. It's a great costume, though. I now that I'm thinking about it, I just might have to do that for Halloween this next year. Or this year, I mean. It's now the new year. So we'll see.
Apparently, it must be going good because everybody else I know during the COVID lockdowns, the military guys,
Mhm.
like all my divorce lawyer friends, started hitting my military buddies up, like, "How's your relationship doing? Are you on lockdown? Are you killing each other yet? Well, let me know if you need me. Here's my rates." And they would just went down the line. Anyway, yeah, Bowsette's like, she's actually not bad looking bald. Most women cannot do bald at all. Yeah, exactly. I told you, Janet could smoke it still with like a bald head.
Well, if I have cancer and I'm bald, I'm going to be all like pale and like, weak looking. I won't be able to work out and do all that stuff. So I don't want to be bald.
We'll get you a hooded sweatshirt and nobody could tell. One of those
I
giant
have a few.
fluffy
I
men's
have a
hooded
few
sweatshirts.
hooded sweatshirts.
A
But
gigantic one. We'll lie to people and be like, your boyfriend's, that's your boyfriend's hooded sweatshirt. You stole it from him.
yeah.
Okay. So great. You're gonna have me sing when my wife's Aunt Flo is visiting. I'm not sure if there's enough money for that. Okay. $20 for Queensryche. Anyway, this movie is like one of my favorite films, and the way it sets it up with Mel Gibson saying GSW, that's the code the doctor uses when he has to call the police and get them involved as to why you've got these wounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bullet wounds.
Yeah, the bullet wounds, gunshot
Yeah,
wounds.
there were gunshot wounds. So
Yeah, and those were not inflicted by Val Resnick, but those were inflicted by Mrs. Porter.
yeah, but we didn't know that until we saw it, and it was heartbreaking because the guy that got her to do it by showing her the picture to get her upset why she was messed up on drugs, and we didn't realize that at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which the whole thing is tragic, and it was it got me. I got teared up and everything when I realized what had happened. But and you could tell he loved her because when he stuck the syringe in the wall and he had his wedding ring on it, it was just it was gut wrenching for me. I would thought it was very sad, and she was so pretty, and he went through a lot, I think, in that relationship, trying to help her with her addiction. I think. Um, and you could tell that by acting, not because they actually showed you any of this stuff. It was just the way that they acted together. You know what I mean? And they did a really good job at doing that. And that's one reason why I decided to be blonde tonight, because both the lead women in it were blondes. And I was like, yeah, I get me a blonde wig. It's going to be fun. I can't wait till I get to wear some of my thigh-high boots and stuff and get to have them on camera. It's going to be fun. So I haven't found anything.
Have the body camera on.
Yeah, I'll just have to stand up and like put my legs up on the table or something. I don't know. I haven't done that before, but I love them. They're so fun to wear. I think lots of women like, doing that stuff, like dressing up. It's fun to dress up. That's why I think so many women love cosplay and Halloween and stuff like that, costume parties. It's just fun.
I'm a big fan.
So,
but I also have a penis. I mean, that's kind of a handicap at this point.
well, men dress up too. I've gone to so many Comic-Cons and have men dress in cool, really good costumes. Again, people want to get their picture taken with you. But you know what? To me, I'm more impressed by people who make their own costumes and try to look like it instead of all these women. Because you can go to these real slutty cons where you just have all these porn stars dressed up in furry costumes and stuff, and they're all like body art and all that stuff because they have professionals that do their makeup and do all their hair and make their costume stuff for it. And all they walk around is with their fake boobs and their fake butts, and all the guys are drooling over and want their picture taken and spend hundreds of dollars just to hang out with these women when they can go to Comic-Con, have a great time and get pictures taken with regular women that went through a lot of work because they love what they're doing, and get your picture taken with them. So that's what I recommend. I think you have way more fun going to Comic-Con than going to one of those porn cons or whatever they're called. OnlyFans con.
Probably. Valzette and I both hate the furries. This movie, this is like one of my more interesting films I watch because you find out about Mrs. Porter got back into heroin after being racked with guilt for shooting her husband, which
Mhm.
you meet him at the start of the film. And this is like
And
one of
we
those movies.
and the thing though with that is you don't know how long it's been, how long the time went between him being shot, okay, and the bullets being taken out, into this all of a sudden you see him when he comes back to their house or their apartment, and he follows her in. You know what I mean?
5 months.
5 months.
5 months.
She
I think
thinks
they
he's
mentioned it.
dead then. So
Yep.
she thinks he's dead, and she's relapsed big time back into her heroin addiction.
Yeah, and
That whole thing is just really sad.
that is a terrible part of the film. And I mean,
Mhm.
it does a good job of giving you reasons as to why characters are the way they are. And
Mhm.
then once he sees that she is passed, he nails that syringe on the wall with a wedding ring in it.
Mhm.
And the punk rings the doorbell, and he goes to work on the guy's kidneys, which is a masterful idea because it's going to keep him immobilized there, and he can get some information out of this kid. And he finds out Val Resnick is the one supplying the heroin to
Mhm.
Mrs. Porter. It's like, damn it. I already know what I got to do, but this is doubling down. I've got to talk to Val and see why he's hell bent on ruining every aspect of my life.
But
And
the scene though, where he's in the room with her, and she thinks she asks him if he's going to kill her. You know, it's almost heartbreaking. Um, when she's on the ground, you know, on the floor, and you saw her kind of staggering in and staggering down the road, even though she's at 10. I mean, she's a gorgeous woman, and I thought she was drunk. See, I didn't know that she was a drug addict. Okay, because you know she just didn't look like a drug addict to me. She wasn't all, you know, like raggedy, and I don't know what I normally would think that a drug addict would look like, you know, all skinny and pale, and her eyes sunk in, you know, just, you know, like a, you know,
She's
beat
not
up
having
old hooker or something on the corner. I'm just guessing, but she was so beautiful. The actress is just gorgeous woman, and then he finds her and he follows her into the house, and she goes in there, and that's when he pushes the door and knocks her down. Right when he goes in, and then he's looking at her, and she says, "Are you going to kill me?" And then he helps her into the bedroom and everything because he sees that she's all messed up or whatever, and then he sees the little music box, and he opens it, and you could see that his sadness over it, you know, that he when he sees the drugs in there and stuff, and he just feels, you could, I don't know, I could just feel his heartache for her, you know. And she's laying there and she's all messed up. She's all spaced out or whatever. And then he goes to take the box, and she takes it from him, and she pulls it to her chest, you know, like she can't do it. She can't go without it, you know. So it gives you a really sad look at addiction, and that it can get, basically it can do it to anyone. It can, you know, addiction can affect any person, no matter how much you love them or they love you. The addiction's going to win unless you can get them out of it. So then he takes the box from her, and he kind of like thinks that, he's stopped her from it. And then he goes and takes a shower, and I don't know, it's that whole scene leading up to what he finds when he goes back in there is just heartbreaking to me, because I know people, you know, I have a couple of people in my family that had addiction problems, and my aunt was one of the people that would run halfway house, and I helped a few summers, and man, it made me not want to do drugs. So I never did, thank goodness. You know, I went and I served them coffee and stuff, and some of them were really gross. You know, it said horrible things to me, you know, like raunchy stuff. as a teenager and stuff. And I just knew I never wanted to end up in one of those halfway houses or whatever. And I thought my aunt was a saint for putting up with that shit. I don't know how she did it, but you have to be the right kind of person to deal with those people. And it's just sad because I would see a person, and then the next summer, my aunt would tell me how they broke out and they're doing real good. They got a job and all. Then I go back the next summer and they'd come back, because they fell off the wagon again. It was like, I don't know how these people, any of them weren't dead, already dead. But sorry, that's one reason why that scene was just really hard for me to see, because it's so real, and the acting was so good. You couldn't help but be pulled in and feel for him. And then when she died, and then that guy shows up at the door, you could just see it in his eyes. He just wanted to wring the guy's neck, but he couldn't kill him. He couldn't kill him because how was he going to get information about where the drugs came from? So we're back to the part where I interrupted you. So
you're fine. He bludgeons that guy's kidneys and gets the information about what's that character? David Paymer plays this little bookie, and this guy's got some important friends. They're cops. They're crooked cops. They don't come out any other way though, and he has to kind of go up the chain, starting with David Paymer's character, who's Arthur Stegman.
Yeah.
And Stegman's the guy that he gets the heroin from, but it's all through Val Resnick, and Val is now invested with the outfit. And it's important to note that this is based on a book. It was a movie back in the 60s called Point Blank, and the book goes a little differently, but the characterization of the characters in this is really good compared to the book. It's just they don't follow the same events.
Mm-hmm.
But it tries. And the Point Blank movie is directed by John Boorman, which I don't know if you guys are John Boorman fans. I love John Boorman. He did Excalibur. He did War Games. He did a bunch of really cool films in the 60s and 70s. And,
I love Excalibur.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite movies.
So he made some negative comments to David Heglund, the director of this movie. He's like, "What'd you do? Send Mel Gibson in there to ransack my old office and find the script that we discarded? Is that what you use? This is garbage." Yeah, same character as Get Carter in another movie I can't think of. Very great director. Hey, Bush McFadden. If a boy pours the sword, a boy shall be king. Yes, that's Excalibur. Well, this movie starts rolling pretty much right away. You go with Porter to go visit Val Stegman, and that's where he bumps into Detective Hicks and Detective Leary, played by Jack Connolly, and Hicks is played by the eponymous, amazing Bill Duke, who, if you don't understand, he was in the movie Predator. Anyway, so he meets these three characters, and his little mission. The problem I have with this movie is that Porter lets people know what he's doing, and that's where these guys try to get an angle on him to where, like, oh, that's our money, not your money.
Mm-hmm.
And they try to tell him that throughout the entire film until it's bitter end for those guys. Hubba, hubba, hubba. Exactly, Bush McFadden. So
I thought that was really funny how they did that through the whole movie, where he just wanted his $70,000. That's all he wanted.
$130,000.
Yeah,
$70,000.
and they kept looking at him like, huh? like it wouldn't sink in. Nobody would go through all this shit for $70,000. And it's like, it's all he wanted. He was the most honest thief, I guess, there was out there. But we forgot to say about the whole thing about how he stood there on the street after he took the money from the cripple guy that wasn't crippled.
Yes.
When he's standing in the street and he's watching all the people, and you see all these people, I mean, just all crammed together. How anybody wants to live that way is beyond me. I just couldn't do it. It's disgusting. I could not live that way. But he's watching all the people waiting for the right person to come down the sidewalk because he's trying to find someone that resembles himself, right? Height wise, dark hair, that kind of stuff. And he bumps into him and swipes his wallet so that he can get some cash. I
So you
guess
can
that
get
was
started.
that's how he's going to get a weapon and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, but
And
that whole aspect to get you to understand that he's a thief and he's really good at it, you know, to set that whole scene up before he goes in and starts doing some of the other things and he finds his wife, you know, before she dies of an overdose, which is really sad and everything. But I thought that whole thing about how he was such a good pickpocket um, and he's able to pull it off when he goes to the bank and he gets that suit made, you know, at that tailor's, and then he goes to the other place and he buys those 3 Rolexes, and then he takes them to the pawn shop. So he's going through all these different steps.
intricate steps.
Yeah, so that they can't be traced back to him, you know. So I just thought all that was ingenious to build up his character so you know a little bit about how good a thief he is and the steps that he goes through to make sure that he's not caught for any of it. I thought that was really good the way they laid that all out. Sorry.
I love how that first act sets up everything.
Yeah, and they did a really good job because you start off. Why would you root for this guy? You know, why would you want him to live? So basically, the whole thing is to show you where he ends up. You know, that he's. You don't know if it's the end of the movie. You know, because a lot of movies open with that type of ending, right, or beginning, and it's at the end, basically. So you have to feel for the character to see whether or not you even want to see him successful. You know what I mean? So I like that. I like the whole way that the voiceover of him telling the story and explaining step by step of how he ended up where he was at. And then once he's past that and he's healed, he's still going on telling the story about basically of who he is and how he's going to get revenge now and get his money. So I thought that was really good the whole way because you want him to be successful, and you feel bad about his wife being dead, but you also are happy that he's got another love in the waiting that reminds you of his wife because they resembled each other a lot, and but she wasn't a drug addict. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It was kind of sad and happy at the same time because you don't know whether or not he's in love with her or he's in love with the thought of his wife not being a drug addict. You know what I mean? That's how I looked at it. I guess as a girl, that's what girls look at or something. I don't know, but that's what I was seeing with her and him. Because she wanted to like him. You could see a couple of the scenes where, like, she's worried about him. She's like, "Oh my God, you should get this stitched up." And then he says some lame ass comment, and she just goes, "Ugh," and just walks off and leaves him. You know.
Yes.
So she wanted to like him more. She wanted to be in love with him, but she didn't. You know, she didn't want to put up with some of his asinine. I guess that's because that's some of the things that made me really feel have real feelings towards some of the characters, because that's the kind of stuff in real life that you have in real relationships, because you love this person, you're in certain moments you're willing to just lie for them or cover for them for their job because they couldn't get up because they had a hangover, all these things. But then other times you just want to throw them under the bus because you're so pissed at them because they've done so many things to hurt your feelings, and you're having to make up for it again, and I felt like she felt like that a little bit with his character, and I like that camaraderie between the two of them because in a way it was very romantic, and I thought they were a really good love interest in the movie.
I was so excited to see this movie whenever we start watching it, and he gets his 3 Rolexes cashed in for the guns, and then he starts, on his little crusade, and he meets up with Stegman, meets up with the two crooked ass detectives, and then finally, after he deals with them, he gets to go meet John Forsythe's character. And John Forsythe, I don't know if you guys remember Knots Landing or the other really bad late night CBS. There was a collection of really bad CBS soap operas.
Yeah.
And for a long time, you had Knots Landing trying to face off against Dynasty, and it just always failed. But William Devane plays Carter.
Yeah.
And he meets Carter.
It's great.
Yeah. And negotiations don't go well. Carter dies because Carter puts a phone call in to Chris Christopherson's character Bronson, which they called him Bronson because they love Chuck Bronson, and so his name is Bronson.
Yeah, and I was really surprised when he made that phone call and it was Chris Christopherson. I was like, holy shit, he's in this movie, So I was surprised over and over when I saw so many faces that I recognized, because it had a lot. This was a star-packed movie, just like the last one we did with Mel Gibson. Or not just Mel Gibson, it was the other one with, Mel Gibson when we did Maverick, but the one we did, The Prestige, it had so many stars in it. And it just doesn't seem like they make that many movies anymore with lots of stars, star power in it.
Well, movies are expensive, and trying to get everybody to get on one stage when you have people living in like BFE, San Antonio, or
some guy lives in New York City, and another guy lives in the San Francisco Bay Area. That shit costs money. And these actors realize like they're a commodity. For me to be in front of a camera, it's going to cost you a lot. And so this is an amazing star-studded cast with William Devane. You got Chris Christopherson and James Coburn as the 3 main heavies in this movie. And I say heavies not as in like they're the meat of the film, but they are the guys that have the most influence in this movie.
Yeah, they're the ones that run and everything.
and I love James Coburn in this movie so much. Carter gets shot because he can't get the money for Porter, and he's like, no to $130,000. It's $70,000. Fine. And he shoots Carter, and Carter's last words are, "You really are a dumb son of a."
Yeah. But the scene where he gets to go in there with Colburn, and the 2 guys, the security guys, are carrying those suitcases in, and he makes them stand there with their arms up holding the suitcases. I thought that was ingenious. I mean, to make sure that they had their arms up, and they're getting tired because they don't want to stand there, and because they don't look like they're in the best shape, you know what I mean, for bodyguards or whatever. But James Colburn's character just took it he sees this kind of shit on a daily basis or something. He seemed calm, and he just didn't seem like he felt threatened at all by Mel Gibson's character. So I thought that whole scene was just kind of comical, and I liked it. I thought it was very entertaining, and it was a very good back and forth between the 2 main characters and the 2 dumbass bodyguards stand there and hold those alligator bags. I thought that was funny. So I laughed a lot more in this movie than I thought I would, because it was kind of serious. There was a lot of seriousness, but it went back and forth. So it was like a dramatic comedy. I mean, I didn't even know that was a thing. You know what I mean? But didn't you laugh a lot when you watched it?
I laughed so much in this movie, and having a 9-year-old kid next to me, like, why was that funny? I have to you'll get it when you're older. That was like 70% of me talking back to him in the film in the middle of the auditorium, and it was just an amazing, a very fun experience, because he just shot Carter. Now he's talking to Fairfax. And Fairfax's guys are putting their arms out their side, And at one point, Porter's like nuzzling with the gun, like get those suitcases up, boys. And then he finally blows a hole in one. That's just mean. And you got Bronson on the phone saying, "Who got shot? Who got shot? Nobody. He's just shooting my alligator luggage." I fucking laughed.
Because it was so
couldn't-
expensive. But yeah, that was a really
$70.
good scene. That was really funny.
Yeah. And the entire scene between him and Coburn was just comedy. Because
Mhm.
at the very end, Coburn's like, 70,000. That are you just after it for the principle of it all?
Yeah,
Porter's like,
that whole thing was really funny because remember the scene from Maverick was the same thing about the money.
Yeah.
So
completely.
I thought that was, I don't know. It just seemed, I just thought it was funny that both characters in two different movies, four different characters basically, but they're both talking about money. I thought that was really, really funny. But it was a really good, entertaining scene, and all the actors did good, even the two guys that played the bodyguards. So they were entertaining in themselves.
And by this time, Porter's enlisting the help of Rosie, who
Mhm.
does not want to help him out at all. She's got a comfortable lifestyle. She is a high-priced whore. She's got a nice pad that they pay for, and
Mhm.
she gives him the first information for where Carter can be found. And after that, she kind of goes on the run, and you find out her dog is named Porter, named after the toughest man I know.
And that was a badass dog too.
Yeah,
That was a badass dog.
like some sort of mastiff.
Hmm.
He's blasting holes in my $1,000 suits.
Did you get choked up though when that one guy that was in there shot her dog?
Yes, I did.
I got really upset about it until later when I realized the dog didn't die. But when the dog yelped and stuff, I was like, oh God, they're gonna kill a dog too. So I don't know. It was that was emotional. There was a lot of emotional stuff in this movie for me too. So it was weird to me because it's been a while since I've seen a movie that had this many. I think it's been since Tombstone, really, where it had all the roller coaster of emotions in it, where you're sad, then you're laughing, and then you're pissed off, and then you're sad again. It's just like you don't know how to act because there's so much going on in one movie with so many different characters that you cared about, and that's what was good about this movie too. You just wanted him to be successful, but you also wanted her to not get hurt or die. And then you cared about the dog especially when you realized that she named him after him because she really cared about him. You don't name your dog after someone you hate. You know what I mean? No. So all of that stuff I thought was really good and very. You couldn't help but be drawn into the characters because they were so easy to like and want to get to know more about them throughout the film. So I thought that was really good too.
I went and saw this movie 4 more times at the theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Taking my girlfriend at the time and then taking my mom to go see it because my mother is a big Mel Gibson fan, and because of her, I had to replace the tapes for Lethal Weapon 1 and 2. She would watch those all the time. There's a butt reveal scene for you ladies that have forgotten this. Mel Gibson shows his butt, I think, in Lethal Weapon 2, and my mom paused it unnecessarily a lot. I think most of us have done this sort of thing before. Let's not try to.
Yeah, I've done that, but it was mostly with Hugh Jackman when he's in the movie Swordfish, wearing the towel on top of his little trailer when he's with Holly Berry. Oh, meow.
Every scene with Holly Berry. That's all I got to say. I loved her in that movie.
Oh, he was hot in that movie. His wife did an interview. Mel Gibson's wife did an interview after years after that. But I thought it was so adorable because she said that when he made that movie, that he would call her and say, he'd be done in an hour or whatever. She's like, leave the tattoos on when you come home. It was like, wow, she was a lucky woman to get picked up and thrown around a room by Wolverine. Oh, can't even imagine what that'd be like. But yeah. Sorry.
Okay, it's all right. Yeah, Legion of Myth was like, sounds like all of my VHSs of Rebecca De Mornay in the 1980s. Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
She slayed it in Risky Business, and then she still looked good in Three Musketeers 1993. And yeah, Rebecca De Mornay. She was also in some movie where she played a babysitter, and the lady from some Robin Williams movie was in it, and she couldn't breastfeed her kid anymore because Rebecca De Mornay was breastfeeding her kid. And Rebecca De Mornay is just a nanny, but she realizes that like she can like
Oh,
drive
I remember
ahead.
the movie. It was like a thriller, and
The
she was,
hand that rocks the cradle.
yeah, that's it.
Absolutely.
And she was trying to get rid of the mother,
Yes.
take her place. Yeah, it was a psychodrama or something. Yeah, she was a nut. So yeah, that was creepy.
Every guy I know wants to have a crazy girlfriend or wife, and like the reason is like we just love sticking our dicks in crazy. Never forget, and God Made Woman. Absolutely. Ernie Hudson was in that too.
I guess that's why I wasn't popular in high school, because I wasn't, I wasn't crazy. I guess I didn't act crazy. I was too down to earth.
Hey, Kronos, how you doing? Welcome to the party. Maria Bartiromo. There's Maria Bello, not Bartiromo. Bartiromo's the dog. I love Maria Bello. She's like one of my favorite Hollywood actresses out there. She's done a lot of good films, a lot of small films too.
Mm-hmm.
But she can get Resnick through the employ of specialty prostitutes because he's barred from using outfit prostitutes. He beats them too much. And so Porter finds Resnick during a session with triad-connected dominatrix named Pearl, played by Lucy Liu. Go ahead. I know you want to talk about this. Hey, Kronos.
Oh, yeah. That was a really good scene. You didn't enjoy it? I think every hot-blooded American male would want to get beat up by Lucy Liu. I mean, I don't understand the concept of wanting to inflict pain on someone, but I guess a lot of people are into that. S&M. Is that what it is? Is it S&M?
We could call it that, sure.
Or I don't know. I can't. Sadomasochist.
I believe it is
Isn't that what it is?
I don't want to like be wrong on my fetish plays, but I believe it is S&M. She's a serious dominatrix that can't really do a lot of damage. She's a tiny little thing.
Yeah, but it would still hurt. I mean, she looked like she was. But what was so adorable about her is she was smoking hot, in this skimpy outfit, and she just looked really good. But when she's whacking them, she does that. Oh, you're thinking about it, because she was getting so turned on by just beating the shit out of somebody. And I just thought she did such a good job and not laugh, because it would be really hard. That's really good acting to be able to beat somebody up and moan and do the sound effects and stuff without laughing afterward. So she was really good at it.
Yeah. And when I watch this movie again, I don't know how you can watch this movie and not like enjoy all the female scenery in it, because if you're a guy,
there's a lot of good scenery in it.
You wake up with a boner in the morning, you've got Maria Bello, Deborah Unger, and Lucy Liu in this movie. It's like the trifecta of sexiness in 1999.
Yeah, they were all beautiful. I mean, it was just sad though. The very first blonde was really, really pretty. Died with a needle sticking out of her arm. That was sad, but she was very, very beautiful. And then
Yes.
the girlfriend, she was really pretty and gorgeous. And then you had the hot Lucy Liu, getting all decked out, because she's just beautiful. She's just a beautiful woman.
Mm-hmm.
Even when she's in her vehicle with all her companions or brothers or whatever, her clan, and they're
Yes.
trying to take him out. I mean, she was hot in the car too. And then when
I love that scene.
the scene where she's sticking out of the window and she's telling the guy he's fat or whatever, and he comes over and he punches her in the face. That whole scene, and she's like, oh, she moans when he hits her, you know what I mean? It's
Yes.
not the normal reaction that a woman would make, because a lot of what's funny too is you see a lot of these movies and the women are getting beat up by their husband or their the thug, on the street, and the women are screaming like, don't hurt me or whatever, and they're wimping out. But if she's walking down the street, just all tiny and beautiful, and some guy comes up her and he punches her in the face thinking he's going to be able to take her purse or whatever, she just goes, oh yeah, or whatever, gets all turned on by it would freak out a guy, I think. Especially he would think that, oh my God, I hit the wrong woman. She's going to kick my ass, that would have been a funny scene. But that guy really did punch her lights out, that other guy. But their first reaction when he first hit her, I thought the whole interaction was funny.
Yes, I really enjoyed seeing that. And then got Resnick doesn't have the money, but he manages to follow Porter back to Rosie's apartment. And once Porter leaves Rosie, that's when he goes in and he realizes who she is, because he's like, I've had this before. I've had you before. I know that ass. And, the beating commences once again. But Porter comes back and shoots him, and Resnick starts bargaining for his life.
Yeah.
And gives him the names of the outfit bosses, Fairfax and Carter. And he goes after Carter afterwards. But Resnick doesn't have the money, so Porter basically puts a pillow over his face and shoots him. Rosie kind of goes a little PTSD at this point.
Yeah.
And God bless her, but like you would think she'd be kind of used to this sort of thing. Nope, not at all. And this is a part of the business that she's not wanting to be part of. Doesn't want to be
but
near.
Plus you got to remember too, how often in her life has she ever come that close to dying? To actually feeling like she's gonna be, this was it. This was over. You know what I mean? And if Porter hadn't showed up when he did, and the guy had already shot her dog, so her dog wasn't there to even protect her, right? So she really thought she was going to die. So when she got to see, everything that unfolded in front of her with Porter, I think it made her realize that, he saved her life, basically. So all the feelings she already had for him were just like, what, intensified, because she was like, damn, this guy's in love with me. He loves me. And now I'm, I can't do without him. He just saved my life, basically.
I don't know if they're that strong yet. They realize they like each other, and he always did good for her in the past. And there was that attraction then. But
no, I do think from way back when, I think she really did love him. She just she wasn't head over heels in love with him, because she knew he was married, and that he wasn't going to leave his wife. You know what I mean? She'd already been through that. So once she realized his wife was dead, when he said that she was dead, she took it, like it was sad, but she was kind of like, oh, he doesn't have that, hanging on him anymore, so that now he's available. But, if what he's going to do is he's going to die, because there's no way he's going to be able to take out the company. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, she just basically realized that, oh, well, he's going to die. I'm probably never going to see him again, because it's over. And then when he shows up, she's like, just shocked that, that he was able to do, and that he saved her life. So I think that intensified all her feelings for him. At least that's how it came across to me in the movie.
I really like that scene, because it kind of brings some things to a head.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of the start of the third act when he puts that pillow over his face. And there's a couple different ADRs there. One of them is, "What good are you?" And there's a couple others, but basically he's like, "Well, you don't got the money. What good are you?" He puts a pillow over his face, pulls the trigger, and
And
then,
he gets his revenge.
yeah,
The guy that got his wife so upset
and
that she
hooked on
wanted to kill him and stole his money and then helped her get the drugs that killed her, right?
Correct.
So basically that one man is what ruined his life, basically.
And he's going to get it back. Give him a moment. He's going to get it back. The bandaging up of the dog happens kind of off scene,
Mm-hmm.
but that does get resolved later because you do get to see Porter getting carried by actual Porter.
Yeah.
And takes Rosie to a safe house.
Mm-hmm.
But she's
Yeah,
on
I
a
was
boat.
happy when I got to see the dog and he was still alive because I thought he died when they had that one fight.
But the safe house that he takes her to, there's the black woman with her boobs hanging out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then afterwards, he sees that the phone has got a line to some plastique, to some explosives under the bed. Don't answer the phone. Don't get on the bed.
Mm-hmm. That was a really scary scene to me when I realized what it was, because the phone was irritating. Listening to it ring and the way it rang, it was starting to get on my nerves. And then when he walked towards the bed and then you see him get down and look, and then I was like, oh, there's a bomb. You know, it's gonna blow that whole place to smithereens. So I was glad that he was smart enough to figure that out. Would have answered the phone. He died.
And at this point, you know, there's three guys in a car not too far away, trying to use a bag phone, basically. Which this movie doesn't really give a good indication of when it is, but there is one line in it where they talk about Nixon being in office, and so it's supposed to be in the 60s. But the cars are from the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And they bruise the shit out of the color correction in this movie to make it look like an older film, which I absolutely fell in love with. And I love how that looks. It's at this point where he gets her in a safe house. He goes to talk to Carter in his own office, and he basically threatens him for the $70,000 because Carter says $130,000 at first.
Yeah.
And then Carter's like, "I'm only an underboss. I'm unauthorized to make financial decisions. Let me call my boss, Bronson." Head. And during that point, Carter and Bronson get the information mixed up, and they both again believe that Porter's asking for $130,000, and Porter's like, "No, $70,000."
Mm-hmm.
And Bronson's like, "No, you don't get the money." And so Carter gets the weighty judgment from Porter that, "Well, I offered you for your life the money, and you won't give me the money," so he shoots Carter. Good God, that was very effective. And I found this is when the movie, like I said, the movie's starting to really warm up, and all the things that you watched in the start of it are starting to happen. And Porter frames Hicks and Leary by putting Leary's fingerprints on the gun, because before he goes in,
that was so smart. That was such a good scene.
He has them handle his little snub nose, and then afterwards he goes puts the gun on Resnick's corpse.
Yep.
I'll be right back. I gotta go grab a drink real quick. I'm thirsty.
Yeah, that was a really, really good scene, because the whole time when you're watching him, he's going to put the gun in a one of those newspaper things that you put the coins in and you open, and then you can take the newspapers out. Well, you see him open it and you think he's about to put the gun in there, but he's not. All he does is he reaches in and he gets a a newspaper out. Then he puts the gun inside the newspaper. So to me, I didn't understand what he was doing. And then when he walked over to them, the three men in the car, and you got the goofy dumbass sitting in the back seat that is the one that was setting up the drug deals for Porter's wife, the one who ended up having the overdose. So he's in the back seat, and then you have the two detectives, the crooked detectives, in the front seat. So he says, "Hey guys, will you do me a favor? I can't. They're going to frisk me when I go in. Can you guys watch my gun for me, or keep my gun for you?" And they look at it and they say, "Sure." And they both look at it. And he's like, "Wow, this is a really nice gun." You know, he's looking at it and stuff. And you got to remember, that's the gun that he had went through all that effort to use the credit card that he stole off that one guy when he pickpocketed him. And then he bought 3 Rolexes at some jewelry store. And then he went and used those to pawn off to be able to get the gun and some cash that he needed to do some other things with. So the whole thing was ingenious because he used that gun. It's like an unmarked gun, or hadn't been used in anything that you know of, or you don't know for sure where its origins are, because he got it at a pawn shop. So it's probably been used in a few crimes. So all of that worked out really good for him to get the fingerprints of the 2 detectives all over the weapon, because they were looking at it and everything. And then he took it back in the newspaper again. See, remember, he handed it to him and it was inside the newspaper. So his fingerprints weren't on it. He made sure that his prints were not, because I thought the whole reason that he opened that newspaper thing was to hide the gun in there while he went in, see, because he was sticking it underneath there. And then he saw the cops there. So he thought, okay, I'm going to use them for this. Because remember, he had a voiceover there, but I can't remember exactly what he said in that voiceover about getting rid of the...
I have to lighten the load.
Yeah, lighten the load, because he was being followed 24 hours a day and he needed to get rid of them or whatever. And he was a really, really smart guy, you know, a very good thief, very good pickpocket, very smart. He was really smart. He knew how to think ahead, like play chess kind of person. So I thought they did a really good job with this character. And I thought Mel Gibson did a great job at playing this character, because there was so many twists and turns that I didn't have it figured out, you know, all the way to the end, basically. I was left not knowing exactly what the next step was going to be, which I really like, because there's just not that many movies anymore that have that many twists and turns and leave you going like The Prestige had in it. It's not a lot of movies that do that anymore. So,
well, not only did he steal the gun, or he had the gun imprinted with the prints, but he also takes Hick's badge.
Yeah, because he had took it off him when he pickpocketed him.
Yep.
Because they were dicks, you know, and you didn't feel bad for him at all. And that's what's so sad. Is normally I'm like, oh yeah, the crooked cop, but you kind of feel bad because he's got wife and kids and whatever else. But then the one cop, he's sitting there all smugly looking at that brochure of that yacht that he wanted, you know, this really fancy boat that he wanted. And he's just thinking about how he's going to take that money that he's going to get from these guys off a Porter after he's going through all this shit and almost died, and his wife was dead and all this other shit. And he didn't give a shit. All he wanted was a boat. You know, so you got to hate them even more because they were smug assholes. So I like that part of it. You know, I like the fact that you liked what was about to happen to them because they were dicks. So I really got into that part of it.
Well, they're waiting outside Fairfax's hotel, and that swap happens there. Plants the gun and the badge on Resnick, and then he goes to a fight with Rosie dolled up to the tins, because during the conversation with Carter and Bronson's son gets his 18th birthday present, which is a new car you get to see. You don't know what type it is till later. and then he gets his son some ringside tickets for a fight.
Mm-hmm.
So Porter
And his
has this
friends.
information.
He bought
Yeah.
tickets for his friends too to go to the
Correct.
fight with him.
So I was having a lot of fun watching this, and you got Bronson's little spoiled kid that gets approached by Rosie, who puts her feather boa around him, and then she says, "Don't worry, I'll take good care of him. You guys get home before curfew."
Mm-hmm.
And I just enjoyed watching that because that's Maria Bello just turning it on 10.
Mm-hmm.
And she just looked the part. She just looked smoking. She was a smoke show. Amazing. Just
And the car was nice too. The car definitely set it off to where the son believed that his dad would probably do something like that for him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in a limo with a really hot babe for him to get laid on his birthday. A pro, you know, is going to take good care of him.
Not too long after that, Internal Affairs finds where Hicks and Larry are at, and they demand to take the boys downtown and start the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, so you're happy and you're like, yay, got rid of those two dickheads. Oh, and I just saw something in the chat. So are you going to get in trouble because I cussed?
I don't care. I don't think that's going to happen. My chat could talk about Jean-Benet Ramsey, and I'd be here tomorrow.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I didn't even think about that. Not cussing.
They're good. They're good. I have mods in the chat right now, and they're doing good.
I know, but it was me that said it, not the people in the chat.
my chat's doing good. They're being a little obnoxious, but they're fine. Soy-based Jeremy always tries to troll me and say things like Bruce sucks his own tits, and I'm like, they're not quite that big. And then Kronos is like, yep, Janet said dicks. Of course. I said
a couple of dirty words because those couple of those scenes really did tick me off. But it's YouTube. I mean, it's a grown-up show, isn't it? This is
not for kids.
Yeah, I click all my stuff that says not for children.
Yeah, and if kids ever show up in here, the parents have failed.
Mm-hmm.
That's all there is to it. And I'm not responsible if your dumbass kid goes out and gets his dick chopped off and goes shoots up a school. Don't come after me.
Yeah, I understand that. That's terrible.
So, wow, that got dark real fast. After all that, Johnny gets kidnapped by Pearl, and while he's making out with Rosie and him are getting a little friendly, all of a sudden she's like, "Don't worry, kid, I'm the professional here." She handcuffs him, and then she pretty much tells him, "Stop trying to get my attention." And I absolutely love that. You hear the song "The Thrill Is Gone," and Mel Gibson rolls down the window. "Don't worry, Johnny. If everything works out fine, you'll be back with your father here real soon."
Yeah,
and it's just a classic kidnapping story.
I love how she just leans back in the limo and just goes and gets ready to have a cigarette because he's like, she's glad that she doesn't have to put up with this little shithead.
But she would have nursed him. I mean, for crying out loud, she's like 38 in this movie, and he's like 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a definite like mommy fetish going on here, and I'm not trying to be all like Reddit creepy, but I'm just saying, like, he's 18, she's 38 in this film.
Yeah.
So,
well, the thing is, he was legal, so she could have. I mean, she might have had a good time, but that's not what she was there for. She was there to do business,
just get
that
business
money they needed, and he was the the clout, basically, for her to take care of.
Not long after all that happens, Porter's making his way, and he's doing his pedestrian thing, and he gets run over by the Triad. The Triad steps out of their car. Stuntman extraordinaire Jeff Amata, the knife man in this movie, he's whipping this butterfly knife around.
Yeah.
He seems to be the big bad guy in that crew. And you see Pearl there just watching all of her guys get pretty much like dispatched. And she's, not too happy that things are not going as well as they should. And she tries calling that one cop fat. And that, hey, you fat boy. I really shouldn't enjoy that so much, but that does make me laugh quite a bit.
I thought that was a funny scene especially when he punched her. She went, oh, like
Yes.
I couldn't help but laugh. I don't know if I was supposed to, if it was inappropriate, but it made me laugh. I thought it was a really good scene. I just loved Lucy Liu in this movie. I thought she did a really phenomenal job for her character. And it was funny too, even though I don't know if I guess she was supposed to be funny, but I just thought she did really good. I was really impressed with her.
And the interaction between Fairfax or James Coburn and Porter is probably one of my favorite in the entire film. But the ending, the takeaway from that is Fairfax asks, "Are you going to kill me too?"
Mm-hmm.
No, because I already killed Carter, and it would really get me nothing more. He already knows I mean business with you, and so all he does is just shoot the luggage, and that's where he pretty much you realize this movie might get very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Porter's held at gunpoint by Pearl during the holdup of the Triad, and inadvertently causes him to get captured by Fairfax's people.
Mm-hmm.
He's taken to a warehouse and beaten. One of the better torture scenes in films, and I've got to say this is probably better than.
Oh, I thought it was horrid. It was horrid when they do what he did to his feet.
This little thing. This is better than Tango and Cash. This is better than Lethal Weapon. This is probably the best torture scene I've seen on film.
Mm-hmm. It was really, really intense, and it was realistic.
Yeah. Bronson arrives with his people and a 130,000 ransom, though he swears that Porter's never going to get his hands on it. And Porter unsuccessfully reasons that all he wants was the 70,000 that Resnick owes him.
Yeah.
And Bronson authorizes his men to hammer Porter's toes one by one until he reveals Johnny's location. Bronson's men smash 2 toes before he gives him a spot. So Bronson, Fairfax, and their people take Porter with them to investigate the address, but it's actually the compromised safe house wired with explosives. Now, at this point,
you know what? The whole thing is he sacrificed his toes knowing that he had to hold out long enough for them to believe that he was giving them the right address. And it was like, I don't know how anyone could do that. I mean, it was just devastating to know that they took that big sledgehammer and smashed his toes with that. It was horrid. And the guy that they got to be the torturer, he was very believable.
Oh yeah, he looks like the type of guy that would enjoy.
Yeah, he looked the part, and he was very believable. It was just excruciating just to sit there and think about him doing that to someone. Oh, it was just terrible. It was a horrible, horrible scene. It was so believable and realistic to me. It was horrid. And they put him in the trunk, in the car. It was just that whole scene was horrid. I didn't know what was going to happen, and all I could see was her sitting in the small apartment and the kid tied up to the radiator.
Yes.
So, knowing they were going to go up in there and to get that kid, I was just really worried after what had happened to her and her dog before. It was really sad. I was really getting I was, upset thinking that they're about to go up there and what was going to happen. But it was nice when I realized where they went when they went in and saw what it was. So that was good.
Hold on. I'm probably going to commit a faux pas here. Wait, I don't have to send it to Kronos through the YouTube chat. I can do it through Discord.
What is it? What you going to do?
I'm going to send him the link to where he can watch this movie.
Oh, okay. Good. Yeah, it's a really good movie. I think you'll really like it. I hadn't seen it before, Kronos. I had never seen this movie until Bruce brought it up. Even though I've seen a lot of movies with Mel Gibson, I'd never seen this one. So I was really, really surprised how good it was, and that I hadn't seen it before. It was shocked that I hadn't seen this movie. But you'll enjoy it. I really think you'll like it. It's got lots and lots of good actors in it, very good acting, and the story is just really, really good to follow through. You'll like it.
Hey, Janet, is Kronos in your Discord?
Yes.
Okay. I'll drop it there.
Okay. Thanks.
Girl or guy.
And when you get done watching it, let me know what you think. What do you think about the movie? Because I think you're going to like it. Very entertaining.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my faves.
I was impressed. But that torture scene is really intense. Really good and believable.
Well, it leads up to the climax of the film because they got him in the trunk of the car and he digs his way out of the trunk through the back seat.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like a very realistic scene. It looks like he actually dug through a car to get there. I'm sure he didn't. I'm sure that was like a paper mache.
And he used what was it? Was it a tire iron that he found?
Yeah.
Back. But you got to remember too, guys, he is beat to hell. I mean, they beat the shit out of this guy. I mean, he is he's at the end of his, he looks like I don't think he's going to make it. I mean, that's how I felt through the whole thing. His foot is a bloodied pulp, basically.
Oh.
And he's just beat to shit. I mean, I don't think I feel like he's not going to make it. So, when he's clawing his way out of that trunk, and we don't know for sure what's going on. All we know is we see they're going back and forth between Mel Gibson's character and the young kidnapped kid and the woman he loves, the woman he wants to save. And you're just waiting for them to bust the door in, and kill her, basically, is what they would probably do to get the kid back. So it's a really intense build up right there through all that. And then you realize what apartment they're going into, which was really cool. But that's when Mel Gibson had to get out and be able to call that number.
He has to dig out of the trunk with a tire iron within 40 seconds to get up to the front seat on the car cell phone, the bag phone, basically.
Yeah.
Dial the number and be able to trigger the explosives underneath the bed to stop.
Before they realize they're in the wrong apartment.
Yep. And right before they die, as Bronson picks up the phone, Gibson's Porter says, "You're wise not to trust me." And then that apartment just goes up, and Porter
you see it coming out of the windows and everything. Yeah.
Porter takes the car, grabs Rosie, and Rosie looks at him and she's like, "You look like hell." And he's like, "I got hammered."
Yeah, he did get hammered with a real hammer. That's what was really bad. But the thing is, when he unzips that bag and you see all that money, I had such a I was so happy inside that they were going to live. They got rid of all the assholes. Oops, I said a dirty word again.
Oh no.
And they had money. They were rich and now they could leave. and be together, and they were both alive, even though his foot was all mangled up and looked like meatloaf.
We're gonna go for breakfast.
Yeah, whatever it was. But
They
I
said
just
they
thought it
wanted
was so
breakfast together.
romantic. To me, it was a very romantic ending for the mutilated guy to get the beautiful woman and money and get to leave. And back then, I guess, whenever that was supposed to be in the 60s or something,
Yeah.
from the story, it was a lot of money.
Yeah, 70,000 even in 1980s is still a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets to keep the girl, and the last thing you hear is Porter say, "I told her, or she told me she'd quit hooking if I'd quit shooting people."
Yeah. I
We're-
stopped killing people.
Yeah,
I stopped killing people. She'll stop hooking.
and you know, I don't know, we were aiming high, and you're
Yeah.
thinking, well, they made 70 grand off this. I hope that's enough. Probably wasn't, but you know, whatever. And
But
and
they just started living a real life where they both got just normal jobs and got to be together.
yeah.
I at least that's what I was fantasizing at the
Now-
ending, because I thought it was really good.
Gibson was I believe Gibson is a producer on this movie, and he got into argument after argument with Brian Hegland, and that eventually caused Hegland to get canned from the set.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went with another script, and there was this is not the theatrical version is not the version that Hegland wanted. Hegland had a different idea, and they released it in 2007 or 2009, the director's cut of Payback. I would recommend not watching that because it's not as good. And
Yeah, that's not what I watched. I watched the
theatrical version.
yeah, the one from the movie theater.
Yeah, this is the theatrical version is so good, and you can watch it. You can watch it with your kids. You can watch it with your kids if they're in their teen years. You can watch it with your parents. Your dad will get a kick out of it because it is a movie that it has all this iconic imagery in it, and the suits, the costuming looks good, but aged. It's kind of weird because you have 80s cars and you have like 60s.
Mm-hmm.
40s like costuming. It's really good. Kronos, go to Janet's Discord. The link is for you there, bud. Whenever you want to look at that. So you have a really good film that on all cylinders this movie fires. If you watch the director's cut, it will not be the same experience. This is like watching the theatrical version of The Professional that we saw in 1994 versus the director's cut, which is now the widely seen version that I feel is inferior. The Professional with Jean Reno and Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
This movie does so much better with the theatrical version, like that one does.
Yeah.
Yes,
I enjoyed this movie immensely. I thought it was very good. And it was still, I can't believe I didn't ever see it before. That's what's so weird. I mean, what was going on in my life or during the movies? I mean, what other movies were out for me to miss this one? That's what's weird. To not even go to the theater or even rent it. So I don't know what was going on. But it was worth watching this time for sure. Very good movie. Action packed, filled with great actors, awesome story. Costumes were great. I mean, everything about it was good. It was a very well made movie.
I'll tell you the top 10 movies in 1999. Okay. First was Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Mm-hmm.
Second place was Bruce Willis and The Sixth Sense.
Oh,
Number 3.
I definitely didn't miss that. I saw that like 5 times when it first
Austin
came
Powers.
out. Mm-hmm.
Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Mm-hmm. I love that one too. I saw
And
that.
Toy Story 2.
Toy Story, I saw that one.
That's part 2, though.
And part 2,
Then
I saw that too.
Then you have The Matrix, which came out, I believe, in April of 99. I saw that.
Man, there was a buttload of good movies out.
Then you have Tarzan. which I didn't see.
What was it?
Tarzan.
I don't think I saw that one either. I don't recognize it.
Then Big Daddy with Adam Sandler.
Mm-hmm.
Number
I think
8.
I saw that one.
Number 8 for 1999 is Runaway Bride. Number 10 is The Blair Witch Project.
I didn't see that one either.
Then number 11 is Notting Hill. Number 12 is The World Is Not Enough.
The Notting Hill, was it a British movie?
I think so.
Yeah, I think I saw that one.
13 is Double Jeopardy. 14 is the Will Smith bomb Wild Wild West.
I didn't see that one.
15 is a Robert De Niro movie, Analyze This. 16 is The General's Daughter. 17 is American Pie. 18 was Matthew Broderick and Inspector Gadget.
I think I saw that one.
19 is Shakespeare in Love.
Mm-hmm.
And then number 20 was Sleepy Hollow, which was another good but underrated movie.
Oh, and that one was what was his name? The guy from the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
Yeah, he was in it. Yeah, I saw that one for sure. I liked it.
Yeah. You also had
Wednesday was in it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Number 25 on the 1999 movies is actually Payback, which I thought was kind of interesting because it actually made the top 25.
Okay, that's good. I mean, it was a good movie.
Yeah. The 1999 was a solid film year. It really was.
I mean, golly, in the last 3 or 4 years, have there been that many good movies? 25.
Well, I'm pretty impressed with what we've got going on right now. Actually, starting since August of last year, it feels like we've got some semblance of common sense returning to the production houses.
Mm-hmm.
Because I saw that start in the indie sphere with there was a movie called The Color Out of Space with Nicolas Cage, and that's the first movie in a long time with Nick Cage that I really liked. And I love Nick Cage movies. I really do. He's a very good actor. He's a living meme, but he's a very good actor. If you can understand, the guy probably should be dead of some drug overdose or something.
Yeah.
But he's a good actor. He's here for a good time, not a long time. That's just how I view him. And
that's terrible to say.
no, it's not. Don't you have any retarded friends where you're like, you're not going to be here long, but I'm going to enjoy the time I get with you because it's going to be fun.
All my friends that were like that, I always begged to please not, or I'd take their keys from them and not let them drive, things like that.
No, I mean,
kind of friend I was.
I actually had retarded friends when I was growing up because we lived in a town with a retarded home in it. And you have 300 normal people in town. You have 125 retards that most of them stay inside, but there's 40 that get to go out and go on walks and pee in your front yard garden or something. And eventually you get to know these people because they're in the same town as you. And you might put a new spin on something. But there was a comedian years ago said, "Get yourself retarded friend because it'll make you so happy." And that was the truth.
Yeah.
You get a retarded
friend. You feel
friend.
Smart.
Yeah.
When you had a dumb friend.
Well, but not only that, but they show you the way to live happy. They really do. And just having that experience growing up in Latham, Illinois was kind of nice. Aside from the fact we had Chad Gray, the lead singer of Hell Yeah, Mudvayne, getting arrested as a teenager. Every time he turned around, he's like, "Oh, I found this bottle of bad whiskey. I'm going to drink it and have a public intoxication event." Mm-hmm. And that's why he moved up to Peoria, was because he was going to turn 18 soon, and it was bad for him to stay in Latham. But you have these retards walking around town all the time, and it's like, okay, well, you have something interesting to talk to. These guys, if you really wanted to feel special, you give them like an ice cream cone, and then they like would go, oh my god, I got ice cream, and like you feel like a minor deity. You feel like you've done something really good. Oh, very good, little servant. For your ice cream, all I ask you to do is not pee in my yard. That little thing. But it was a fun lifestyle growing up there. It was boring as hell, so you can understand why, like, I enjoy where I'm at now. But I really enjoyed having that perspective as a youngster, because having these people like, well, I'm glad I didn't come out of the womb like that. I forgot where I was going with this, but this was it was a very interesting life, having that experience to where you were affected by other people's chemical misfortune with their own selves, and you came out pretty much okay. Now, the main thing is that with movies like Payback, you get a chance to see some people are born and they have an addictive personality type, like his first wife in this movie that dies from heroin overdose. She likes a heroin so much that she can't stand to be without it. She has a secret compartment in her shoe to be an auxiliary source of heroin if she can't use her music box, which I thought that was, like, at one point sad, another point that really hit home, because my uncle died of a heroin overdose. And
well, the way that Mel Gibson, I don't know, this another personal feeling I got, because that scene to me was so sad, and it was just sad because you could tell that he loved her, and loved what they once had, because he had a couple flashbacks of the fun that they had together and stuff, in that room and everything. But the way he touched the music box, and when he opened it, it was like he gave it to her or something. It was like a gift from him. And then when he opened it and saw the drugs in it, it was just sad. The whole scene was just very sad and very dramatic, because their relationship was ruined because she was a drug addict, had become addicted to heroin. And I just felt really bad for him, and I felt bad for her, because she was the one with the addiction. And you could tell that even after everything he'd been through, and she had shot him, okay, and she got whisked off, and he was left there to die. He still wanted to help her, because that's how much he loved her.
Loved her.
That's why it was, I don't know. It's really hard for me to handle that whole thing, especially when I don't think there's anyone today in the world that hasn't been hurt by some type of addiction, alcohol or drug abuse or something like that. So that's what made it really hard for me, for that whole thing, to watch it.
This movie hits on a lot of cylinders. I could talk about this film another 3 hours probably. This is easily, like I said, one of my favorite movies I've ever seen. It's got an interesting history with me, because the first time I saw it, I took my little brother from Big Brothers Big Sisters out to go see it, and then his mom told us to stay out later because she was busy entertaining her boyfriend at the time. And so anyway, like later on, I told the caseworker, like, the mom is got no control over her son. Like, I've watched him beat her numerous times. I've done what I can. You won't let me beat on the kid. So my year is done, and I feel like I've learned some things. But if I had my way, this kid would go into the system and get a foster family rather than his mom.
Beat on his mother?
What? Oh yeah, all the time.
Oh,
he beat the hell out of her. One time right in front of me, and like got her so bad, like her nose wouldn't stop bleeding. We actually had to call an ambulance. And then when the cops got there, they really didn't believe that it was the son. They thought I beat her. And I'm like, no, it was her kid. And how are you involved with this, Mr. Lombardo? Well, it was the fact that I'm a big brother, big sister. And then we called the caseworker, and he came down and started sorting things out. It's not soon after that, he was removed from the house. And, then she overdosed. And it was like, that's really sad. But, like, this lady shouldn't have had a kid alone. She should have had, like, somebody around her and, being a family, like, not being with the boy's father, like, just mentally broke her. And it was a very sad situation. And that was through a part of my life that, like, I just learned not to give a shit. And I know that sounds really terrible. Did you stay in contact with him, Bruce? No, actually, I avoided every time he called. And only after he turned 18 did I put out the word to where he could find me and talk to me. And we had a conversation. But I didn't want to talk to him before he was 18 because I wanted to talk to him as a man. Like, you beat your mom like you were a man. Let's have a discussion now.
Did you ever get to talk to him after he was 18?
Yeah, I did.
And how did he turn out?
He's not good.
Mm.
He's not in good shape. I mean, he was put in Big Brother Big Sisters for a reason. And, like, the bad thing is that he's like a sub-genius. But the bad thing is that he comes from a bad home. He has a lot of chemical issues with him, and he's going to need to have meds all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I just refused. Like, I could get involved, but it's not going to improve my life at all. In fact, I'm going to be out a lot of money if I try to help you. And so I just kind of like, listen, I wanted to beat the shit out of you the day that I saw you beat your mom. He's like, why didn't you? It could have fixed me. And I'm like, well, there is that thing. I would go to jail. And no offense to you, but you can go to jail, you little shit, or you can go to juvie hall and you can get your, maybe your life will turn around. And I only ignored you because I couldn't talk to you the way I wanted to. You're in the system until you're 18. Now that you're 18 and a man, we can talk. And we did. And I kind of let him know, like, the entire time I was fuming. I was wanting.
How long ago was that?
That was 1999 to 2000.
Oh, okay.
And like, he told me, he's like, what do you realize that you got my mom killed? I said, no, your mom killed herself. And there was a lot of problems that she had. If you remember, like, all the dudes that came over all the time, do you remember that? Oh yeah, and I remember them beating on me and beating on her. I'm like, okay, I was put in this situation to try to help you. And instead of you taking what flag and what lifesaver could give you, you ignore me each and every chance you had. And I laid into him on that. But afterwards, I haven't talked to him since. And a friend of mine said his life has gone considerably downhill. But we all make choices. And this was in 1999. He was 9 at the time. So he's probably in his mid-30s. And sorry about that, but it's just another Decatur story.
Yeah, the sad thing is that if he'd gotten a couple good spankings and had a stepdad or a father that was involved and actually gave a crap about whether he went to school, made good grades, someone read books to him at night before he'd go to bed, did crafts with him, art or stuff, read, just did things with him to show him that to love him, he could have had a totally different life. And I got my butt kicked by my parents because I wasn't a good kid. Sometimes I did a lot of dumb things, but I had parents that cared whether I came home, whether I went to bed and had dinner before I went to bed, things like that, or if I got a bath and brushed my teeth, all the things that a kid needs to feel like they're part of a world or part of a family, and that's really sad to know that. But I'm proud of you that you took time out of your busy life to want to mentor a child, so many people wouldn't even do what you did to take a kid to a movie,
I mean, I did everything I could that I was allowed to. And I was told that there were a lot of times where, like, I overstepped my bounds because, like, there was a time where he actually threw hands with me, and it was like 9 years old, and I was like 24. I was throwing lumber at the time, like picking up 80-pound shingle bags at my job. So grabbing a hold of what, 100-pound kid and putting him against an arcade machine, being like, we're done for today. You had your little outburst and you took a swing at me whenever I beat you on Tekken. I'm sorry, kid. I'm taking you home. And then I went and told the people, Big Brothers Big Sisters, like, no, I took him to the arcade. We went and saw a movie. We were eating. And when we were at the arcade, he got upset with me because he wanted to play a game against me. And I told him, I said, I'm not going to baby you. You play your hardest, I'll play my hardest. And he sucked. And then he got upset. And he took a swing at me, and I put him against the arcade, and I'm like, I've got you off the ground, and you're pinned against the arcade, kid. We're going to take you home, and you can figure out what you want to do after this, but I'll see you next week. Don't ever raise your hand against me again, and that was pretty much a street English, right? Well, the people at Big Brothers Big Sisters got upset, and they're like, you can't be doing that to him. I'm like, the kid punched me in the arm as much as 11 or a 10-year-old kid could, and he did leave a mark on there for a couple days. It didn't hurt me in the long run, but I picked him up and I thought I tried to scare the hell out of him, like, don't do this. This is how you get hurt, and you don't recognize that people don't like you. Like you're kind of a dick, and not many people are going to be like giving weepy over a dickhead kid, getting his comeuppance. You hit your mom, you take swings on people that beat up, your character on a video game. Why are you doing that? I'm going to drive you home, and you can try to figure this out, and we'll talk about it next week. And then it wasn't long after that everything came falling down on his head, and I felt sorry for him for a small bit, but like he did it to himself. And I know this sounds bad, but I mean, there's plenty of opportunities that he had to reverse the bad decisions he was making. And for some people, all it is just change of scenery, get out of the area. Your family's not helping you. Your family's the source of your destruction because they put you in a bad mood, or they don't allow you to go try to stretch and get a job that might better yourself. And his family wasn't even there. He had a mother that pretty much let him have run of the house, and she was just wanting to get penis and not be lonely. And it just, I felt sorry for the kid, but like, you can only feel so sorry for them. And I don't have a lot of,
especially when there's nothing you can do. You can't fix anything. You can't change his environment. You can't move in with him, and you can't let him move in with you.
At the end of the day,
really
I got to take him back to his mom.
Yeah.
I got to take him back to that bad environment where he's got a mother that she loves her son, but she also wants to not be lonely. So she's doing bad things. And it was a rough situation. That was a real shock to me as to how bad some kids have it.
Yeah, I've got a couple of stories about some really sad incidences, and one of the reasons why I started doing more when it came to children endangerment, things like that. So it's all very depressing.
I want to talk about a happy thing, and as much as I love talking about the movie Payback, there was a movie you saw recently in the theater.
Yeah, I went and saw it the night before last.
Yep, Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. What did you think about it?
I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. It was almost like, to me, as a new player, playing Dungeons and Dragons and getting to learn about a paladin, what a paladin is, a barbarian, lots of different characters like that, a cleric and a wizard, a red, is it a red wizard? Different things like that. Dragons, getting to see a dragon in this movie and getting to see them get to, I didn't get a popcorn bucket. They didn't even do it at my theater. I was so depressed and mad at them. So, but guess what I did do? I left him my phone number and my name for the manager because I told him I want to get that big thing, the cardboard thing that they had in the theater. So hopefully I'll be able to get it when the movie's finished. So they'll call me and let me come pick it up.
Legions of Myth is going nuts over there. It's like, that's the Guardians of the Galaxy film. Ah, and it might
No.
be.
I didn't think it was.
I'm not gonna lie, Max. I'm going to watch this movie, but I'm going to watch it on the high seas.
I loved it. It was so good. It was almost like I wanted so bad to be able to be in the movie. I mean, it was like getting to a week after week that we get to play and thinking about the lands that we get to travel across and the creatures that we get to interact with and getting to see them in live action on screen. I thought it was great. I loved it.
There's some parts of that
I
movie
loved
that
it.
look really good. I'm not gonna try to mince words.
I think the whole movie was good. There wasn't anything to me that was woke in it that took me out of the movie. I thought it was a very good family movie that you could go watch with your 9-10-year-old kids. I just loved it. I thought it was really, really good. And I'm going to see it again. This is a movie that I'm going to buy, which is, I haven't said in years.
Now that says nothing's as good as your imagination.
No, never. There's no such thing. Just like, if you read a book growing up and then you get to see it made into a movie, it's never going to be as good as what you remembered from the movie. But I don't know. I really loved it. I told Bruce before we started that if there was a place like a Disney World, but it was Dungeons and Dragons world where you could go and dress up in character and play out whatever it is that you're doing in your game and have a place on the map, like it's set up to where this is where the orcs live and this is where the dragons live, and you go to the different places and act out something from your with your characters dressed up as characters from the game that you play and get to just run around and interact with each other. I just think that would be so neat. And that's what I was thinking about the whole time I was watching this. I go, I have that token. I'm a cleric and I have that token and I could talk to dead people and ask them 5 questions. I just thought it was super neat. I loved it. I was excited. And guess what? People after the movie was over were clapping. I clapped. I was
When
one
was
of
the
the
last time that happened in a theater with you?
It's been a very long time since I got to see that in a movie. I think it was Maverick that people clapped too when Maverick was out. Because people are dying for good entertainment. And I loved it. I'm new to Dungeons and Dragons to actually get to play it.
Yeah.
I wanted to play when I was young, but everywhere I went, they said no, because we moved every year or 2 years because in the military, and I never got to play. And then I grew up, and then I got married. I had kids. My whole life changed, so I never did get to be that kid that got to play DD. So when Bruce was telling me one day that they did it, I told him, I said, I've never gotten to play and I would love it. I would love to be a character, make a character, and get to play and use my imagination again. And I'm like a dumb kid. I don't know if anybody's seen me, but I love it. It's fun. I think about it as me being the person that's getting to play in this game. And that's how I felt when I went to see this movie. So, if you go see it and all you can do is whine and complain that it's not perfection and it doesn't fit your imagination, then you don't have an imagination. You can't put yourself and immerse yourself into this movie. I feel sorry for you because
there's a lot of players. There's a lot of people that this movie is coming out at a bad time.
Why?
Okay,
we're in a desperate need for good entertainment. I think it's a perfect time, and I'm so thankful that I got to go see it. Now, I would have loved it more if I'd gotten that beautiful box that looks like a giant dice to throw. But I didn't. So now I'm gonna have to get on eBay and try to find me one.
All
Because
right. Well, I got
got
to
a
take you
crappy
back in
theater.
time to Hasbro's had the Dungeons and Dragons license for a long time.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Hasbro has put people in places where they probably should not be.
Mm-hmm.
And in January, they made the big announcement that they're going to be releasing a new edition that's compatible with 5th edition D&D, which we do not play that version. We play Pathfinder, which is based on the 3rd edition of the game.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of me resonates with the statement that Dungeons and Dragons stopped at 2nd edition.
Mm-hmm.
And at 3rd edition, it got bought by WotC, Wizards of the Coast, the people that are behind this version. WotC got purchased by Hasbro, and Hasbro has a big ESG budget, and they've kind of ruined D&D, and it's been going on for a few years. But what they did was they made a movie to fit people that don't know the actual history of various campaign settings or worlds within the game of Dungeons and Dragons, because Dungeons and Dragons has a bunch of different worlds that you could play in, for like Dragonlance or Mystara or Forgotten Realms, which is where this movie takes place because it has Red Wizards of Thay, and it takes place in Neverwinter. You have a bunch of other settings out there too. The one that we play in was started off in 3rd edition.
Yeah, but they talked about Bard's Gate. A lot of the characters they talked about, it was
Baldur's
like,
Gate.
yeah, Baldur's Gate. That's what I meant. And they talked about different characters,
Yeah.
and to get to see them in live action, I just I
You
loved
liked
it.
it.
I thought it was awesome, and
You
I'm going
like
to see it
the film,
again.
and I'm not gonna
So,
I'm not gonna have an opinion on this movie, because the movie, no matter what I say, is gonna have this huge stigma over it. That in January,
well, you
Hasbro
can
really
talk to
fucked
me
up.
about it. You can
Okay.
talk to me about, and I'll be a kid again. You just have to be selective of who you talk to about it. But I'm new to a DD. I'm new to actually getting to be a character and learn about it, about what each dice stands for and all the different things. But to get to see, as a newbie, to get to see a paladin fight with honor, it was just I can't even put words to it. It was awesome. That's all I can say. I loved it. It was a wonderful, wonderful movie. And the only bad thing is I wish I went with my sister, and she doesn't know anything about any of it. So it just would have been so cool if I could have been holding hands with two friends that like DD, and I was just so excited. I can't even tell you. I felt like a kid. It was wonderful.
See, that's kind of what I wanted to hear, because I won't have a fair judgment on this movie, and a lot of my friends, even my friends in the chat, won't have a fair judgment of this movie, because Hasbro made some very toxic statements back in January, and they've been making digs at people for a while. They've gone the Disney route of, if you can't get people to buy your stuff, you bash them on social media.
Well,
So
see,
no
that's
matter,
why I try not to read any of that stuff. I try not to watch stuff that takes away from my love of comic books or collecting or Star Trek or any of that stuff. Anything that's negative that goes around, any of the things that I love that I have in my, like I have a sword hanging on the wall. I have a plastic dragon over there that I play with. I have things that mean something to me because of where I got it or who gave it to me or what book it came from or things like that. I try not to put information into myself
yeah,
that I know is going to take away from those things, because it just makes me mad. Like I have the whole series of The Walking Dead over there and lithographs that are autographed by the cartoonist and the writer, and all the stuff. But when I look at it, I get joy out of it because of what I know, what it went into it, and how I felt about those characters. So why would I want to put something in it that I know is bullshit, that's going to take away the joy I get when I get to hold it and look at it or play with it or whatever. I can't help it. I'm a nerd, and I want to be a nerd, and I enjoy being a nerd. I love my stuff. I love my stories. I love my comic books. I read my comics. I play with my figurines. I dress up. I do all these things, and I'm a grown up, and I pay my bills. I take care of things. I'm responsible, but there's nothing wrong with me wanting to play with my things that bring me joy, and I don't see that in anyone else. If somebody gets joy out of drawing or building something or creating a game for others to play, or making costumes or crocheting and making cool figurines for someone else, just any of that stuff, or me making art that emulates the things that I love in comic books, and a lot of people aren't interested in that. I grew up in a family where none of them cared. My dad was the only one that was interested in a few of the things, but he couldn't spend as much time with me because he had a job and he traveled a lot. He would go on TDY. I wouldn't see him for 8 months. So I had to do a lot of the nerd stuff by myself, and all my friends made fun of me because I loved Star Trek, or I loved some of my dumb comics that I had, and I liked Morbius. I liked a lot of things, and they just, people made fun of me for it, and they still do. But I don't care.
Okay.
I still love it.
And
I
that's
still love my
cool.
stuff. And I think everyone should be able to enjoy their stuff. And if it's gonna cause a problem, talk to the people that appreciate you for your love of something, and don't worry about sharing it with the people that aren't going to enjoy it. That's what I tried to do.
I plan on watching this movie. In fact, I plan on ripping it off the interwebs and putting it on a DVD-ROM and having my hard copy of it, because I do want to see it. Do I want Hasbro to make a dime off me? No, I want them to lose money.
That's fine.
But
you're going to like this movie. I think you are. As much time and detail and work that you go through to make a game that I can play with other people and immerse myself into these characters and try to figure out our own way through the maze that you have made. I think you can watch this and see the enjoyment of everyone that's in this movie, all the people in the theater that are watching it, enjoying it, that know, especially the ones that know a little bit about the details of these characters and what they mean to them. I've only met one person playing this game that was a paladin. And all I know about a paladin is what this person portrayed to me and what we talked about during the games. And I'm lucky because the games were long. I mean, there were hours and hours and hours immersed into talking about what's going on with all these characters, right?
Yeah.
So that's my enjoyment of it. So when I get to see it portrayed, sorry, I got to get something to drink, portrayed in life, in real life for me to see, I just loved it, because it was like getting to be awake and dreaming, and it's happening in front of me. That's what it was like. It was fun. And I loved all the characters that they got, and the little wizard guy that's not really good, and how he becomes a man, and all the different things about it. I just thought it was good. It was a very good movie.
Is Bradley Cooper in this movie?
Yes. And the character he plays, you're going to love.
Yeah.
I loved it. I was shocked because I don't really like Bradley Cooper. I think he's an asshole. I mean, really, I just don't like him. But to see him play this character, I thought he did very good at it, even though I don't like him. I think he's an arrogant asshole. But I won't tell you why, but I do.
So now that I've put my feelings,
Everybody's saying stuff about me saying a dirty word.
yeah, you can say asshole here.
Oh, okay.
You can say asshole here.
Okay.
You can say whatever grown-up words you have to here. Okay, I'm not gonna fucking step on
I don't
you.
like the C word. I don't like to use that word.
Okay, well, that's fine. We don't have to use a big word. We don't have to use the word cock. Okay.
No, I'm not. I've said that word. I'm talking about the other word. To me, it just sounds worse than what it means. I mean, it's just another word for a body part, but I just don't like the way that I've heard it used.
I will probably appreciate you not liking that, but in my own company, people will hear me say the clam word. Yes. I will see the D&D movie, but I'm going to rip it off the web, and I'm going to fucking make sure that, Hasbro has losses from it, because I don't want to pay them for it, and I don't need to pay them for it. They can suck my fat cock, and that's all there is to it. I've been wanting to see this movie because it looked kind of interesting. I've heard a lot of people say there's some parts in it that'll piss you off.
I didn't see anything that pissed me off, but I guess it might be because I don't know enough about the stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah, there was a cartoon.
History. Yeah, but the history behind Dungeons and Dragons, who owns this and what they've done, all that. I don't know anything about it, and I'm thankful I don't, because that might have ruined it for me. But
yeah, and that's where a lot of my friends
like
are.
a kid.
It's ruined it for them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
sorry that it did, because I'm so thankful that I got to watch it through the eyes of a child, basically, because that's where I'm at on the level I am for DD. I'm a child level, and I'm so thankful because I loved it. It was like it was fun. It was so fun. I loved it. I couldn't even go to bed when I got home, even though it was a late movie, but I just couldn't stop thinking about it. I've been thinking about it all day, little bits here and there. I just thought it was adorable, and some parts were adorable, and I just liked it. I thought the special effects were good. I thought the acting was very good. And the one thing I really liked was at the very beginning, before the movie started, you had all the main actors sitting in their regular clothes saying thank you to me and everyone else is sitting in the theater about coming to see it at the movie theater, because it's helping the movie theaters. A lot of them that almost went belly up because of the COVID. So I was thankful for that. And Tom Cruise did the same thing when I went to see Maverick, Top Gun. He did the same thing. He had a special video thanking you for going to the movie theater to see it. And you just don't see that much from actors that give a crap, because they don't care. After they got their check, they could care less whether it's the theater or you're watching it at home. They've already got their money. So to see a few actors that actually care whether we still have theaters to go to, and that movie theaters, the experience of going to a movie theater it might be gone. A couple of years, there may not be any more theaters. Just like what happened to the drive-ins.
I really want to be able to have enjoyment, and that.
And you will, but you try to remember the next time when another movie comes out, and that go see a movie that you don't know anything about or the background behind it, so that you can actually spend the money at the theater and help the theater. That's all I'm saying.
There's a really good theater over here. And I mean, as much as I love Alamo Drafthouse, I really don't like paying $20 to go see a film. So I'll go see John Wick at the Carrot Sodas Theater.
Yeah, I went and saw John Wick too. That was really good too.
Between Dungeons and Dragons and John Wick and Mario Brothers, all hitting within a 3-week span. I honestly believe that this is the first springtime we've had where it's not springtime for Hitler, and poverty wins, or like depression wins.
Did you go see that movie, the Pixels movie?
No.
You didn't go see that one
When
when it came out of the theater?
I'm not a big fan of Adam Sandler.
Okay, I'm not either, but I thought the Pixels movie was great. I thought I laughed my butt off through the whole movie. I thought it was very well made. And
There's
I
some
thought it was
parts
really
of it
good.
that are great. I've watched most of the film offline, but I've not seen it from start to finish in one sitting. Like I'll catch 30 minutes here, I'll catch 30 minutes there. The fact they've got the designer of Pac-Man
Mhm.
to star in the film, or the guy that portrayed the creator of Pac-Man, that was pretty cool. I didn't. I just don't like Adam Sandler, because Adam Sandler films feel like embezzlement, and I'll explain that to you at another point.
But I didn't have any background on it at all. But when I went, all it made me think about was going to the arcade and playing all those games,
Yeah,
and getting to see all the games come to life and interact with people and stuff. I thought the concept was just
it was
awesome.
fun. It's a fun concept.
It is, and the thing is, and I try to, when I look at anything like that, when I really sit down and I try to, just like I said, there's a lot of actors that I can't stand because they're jerks. But if they do a good job at making me believe them as a character, I try to put that to the side and just base it on what I'm seeing on the screen, because of all the other people behind the scenes that no one knows anything about, all the crafty people, the background, the makeup people, the sound people, the people that do the lighting, the stand-ins, all the people that worked hard that you never see. Okay, those are the people that I try to, when I watch a movie and I talk about it, it's not just the actors in the movie and the director. It's all the other people that actually make this movie successful, because without them, you wouldn't have a movie. I mean, I don't care if Nicole Kidman is this, or that woman that was in the Hunger Games was that great as an actress. If it hadn't been for all the other people running around as extras dressed in costumes, how believable would the movie be? And every movie can't be CGI. I mean, it's just not realistic. The interaction between a person talking to no one is not the same as an actual person talking to a real person. I mean, I can see subtle things like that myself, and I'm sure I'm not the only person. So that's what I try to think about when I go see a movie, was everyone else that was in the movie is why it's good.
Yeah. That's something that, as much as I hate Hasbro, I do look at the fact that they put 400 people to work.
Mm-hmm.
They got gaffers, lighting technicians. They got 200 people in the CGI department.
The locations.
I will say
all that.
I will say the CGI department dropped the ball, and they dropped the ball in the trailer, because there's some scenes where it shows you these castles that have modern windows.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Well, yeah, I noticed a few things like that, but I didn't care. I really don't. It's like when we were watching somebody building a set for themselves to play Dungeons and Dragons, the imagination that he put into it and the hard work that he did to bring something to life for his people that are going to play his game. It doesn't matter the flaws in it. I can look past all of that, because all I'm thinking about is the joy that the people are going to have when they play the game, because of his efforts to make it more realistic. Like when you're setting your characters up and stuff, you're helping me immerse into it. To me, it makes it even better, because it's easier for me to make myself little and be standing amongst those big pillars that you made, or the huge dragons, or whatever it is that you're adding to it. I'm able to immerse myself into it simply because of the effort that you took to make it more inviting and more believable. So that's how I look at the movie. See,
Yeah.
I'm able to put myself into it the same way.
And
People walk in my office and they see my stuff. A lot of people just go, they just they don't know how to react, because sometimes it's just overwhelming. I'm overwhelming to a lot of people. People just seem to they either they really like me, or they just go, that's the freakiest person I've ever met, and I never want to see her again. Because I'm a lot to absorb. I've had people I've had people say that to me many times, that I'm very overpowering, and I don't try to be. But when it's something I'm excited about, I know I get over zealous, or whatever the words are. But you know, I'm excited because if this movie causes young children to want to learn how to play Dungeons and Dragons, and take them away from a video game and put them in front of a board to where they have to use their imagination to bring it to life, I'm all for it.
that's kind of where I'm at on this. I mean, I don't like the new version of D&D, and I haven't for years.
Mhm.
And I haven't liked the new editions of D&D since.
I want you to read Max's story. I think I would love to see this made into a game where we can sit and play it. I don't know how to do that stuff. I don't know the people that we'd need to get a hold of, but I've never seen anyone put so much effort into so much detail, into so many characters besides you as a dungeon master, and I think that you could read what he's doing, some of it, and you would be going, this guy is really talented when it comes to his imagination, and I could see something coming from it, some form.
Appreciate that. We got a question from the chat. Want to know, what is your favorite variety of Star Trek? What's your favorite Trek?
My favorite Trek is original, that I watched with my dad, reruns with my dad. I can't help it. I absolutely love Spock and Kirk's personalities, their interactions with Bones, the original people. And
Okay.
now I like second generation, the next generation. I like a lot of their characters, like Data, and some of them, and I liked Picard on that show, but I don't like the new show that they have them out now. It's not real Star Trek to me. But you can't help it when you watch something and it's your first time watching it and you're immersed into that. Anything else that's trying to be it, like if they made a brand new Futurama, it wouldn't be Futurama to me.
Okay, I got it. I didn't realize you were a Futurama fan, so
I
I'm going to
love
ask.
Futurama. I've seen every single episode. I've watched it for years and years. I absolutely loved it.
So you realize that when they talk to Gary Gygax on Futurama, that's the creator of Dungeons and Dragons.
No, I didn't know that. I never got into watching the show and loving the characters. I never knew, I just never spent the time to get into the rest of it. But I just love it. I think it's a genius show. I laughed. It would take me away from everything when I get to watch it. And I love the Death by Snoo Snooze, one of my very favorite ones. And the one where Fry is trapped on that planet with the evil people that want to take over the world. I can't remember what his name is right now, but he's got his little son feeding them Skittles, what he thinks is Skittles. And he's dying, slowly starving to death because he's only eating his poop. Remember the episode I'm talking about?
I never watched Futurama until a couple years ago.
But oh my God, I just love it. It came on really late at night, and for some reason, I just started watching it, and I just fell in love with the characters, with Leela and Fry and their romance.
You see this character on Futurama?
Mm-hmm.
The guy behind the voice is actually this guy here, and that's Gary Gygax, the creator of Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, really? He's the one that made the actual board game?
Yeah.
Wow. Now,
And
see, now that I know more about him, does he do cons and stuff where you get to meet him?
he's been dead since 2008.
Oh, that's sad. I'm sorry. I didn't know that.
No, you're good. But
So, see, he's gone. So you can't expect anything new to be like the original. It's just not going to be. You have to.
No.
That's why if you read this story that I'm going to send you, I'm going to send you some stuff and let you read it when you have time, and then you can let me know what you think. But it's phenomenal. When I started reading some of it, well, first I was in a space and I was talking about how much fun I had the first couple times that you guys were teaching me how to play Dungeons and Dragons, and he started sending me private messages, and he said, oh, I love what you were saying, and it really makes me want to write again and do all this different things. That I inspired him. He said I was his muse or whatever, and then he started sending me more and more of his story that he started writing, and I was like, oh my God, this is so freaking good. And I told him, I said, this could be a huge game. I mean, you could play this like Dungeons and Dragons, or you could play it and make a game where you can actually play it on a computer, or it could be a movie or a TV series. I mean, it has so much potential that I can see in it. I think he's a genius. And I tell him all the time, and he says I'm good for his ego, but and he's gay. He's a gay man, but he is wonderful. He's one of the smartest people I've ever talked to in my life. I've never seen someone who can just start talking about something and make a story around it. You know, I don't know. I can't even tell you. I can't even explain it, but he is so awesome about his whole idea, everything that's in his head, and be able to put it out on paper and stuff. Bruce, I think if you read some of this stuff, you're gonna it's gonna blow your mind. So I think he's really good.
Okay. I don't want people to grill you or anybody. If you guys, if my old guard friends that have been playing RPGs for 10, 20, 30 years like me, or more like Max, 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys don't want to see the new D&D movie, that's completely on you. If you don't want to pirate it, if you don't want to get that, that's fine. Oh, Arwen Avalon says, Fat Raid. I'm getting raided by Fat Steven Seagal.
I mean, even if you did pirate it and you watched it, and even if you liked it, you don't have to tell anyone. No one has to ever know. You know, it can just be your secret, your little naughtiness that you did all alone. No one knows about it. But all I know is it made me feel like a little kid again when I got to watch it. After playing with Bruce and all the other guys, and now we have a new woman that's playing with us. Just after getting to do that and use my imagination and learn, I've been learning a little better. I'm getting a little better each week. And I'm on Hero Labs. I'm learning how to use that. I'm telling you, it just made me feel like a kid when I watched this movie. I got to see all the people all the characters that I'm learning about, the different magic, the different cities. I can't even explain it. It was just, I loved it. I thought I was able to see it as a kid in awe of it. And I thought it was great.
I'd like to say hello to our friends that have just came in from Fat Steven Seagal's channel. Justice Steven has
hello, guys. We're going on and on about the movie I saw and how much I loved it, getting to watch Dungeons and Dragons as a newbie playing Dungeons and Dragons. So Bruce invited me to play on a game, and we made up a character for me with a few of the other people that play, and I became a elfin cleric. I'm half elf and half human, and I'm not very powerful yet. I'm still a young, character, and try to remember what dice I'm supposed to roll depending on what actions I have and different things like that. And it's been really fun. I'm loving doing it. I look forward to it every 2 weeks when we get to play about what's going to happen and what cool spell I'm going to get to use, or, what we're going to meet and, what's going to happen. It's fun. I look at it that way. I just love it. I just really like doing it. And then when I saw the trailer for this movie, I was like, I can't believe I'm going to get to see a movie about the game that I'm playing. So when I went to see it, I loved it. I felt like I was a giddy kid watching it
That
live,
makes me happy.
life in front of me, and I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was awesome, and I'm going to see it again, and I'm probably going to buy it because and I know I don't know a lot about the background of a lot of the things that's going on with the game because I'm not that far in. I don't know enough about it yet to understand all that, but it's not going to change the way I feel about the movie because I just can't explain it any different than that.
You really enjoyed yourself.
Yeah, I really loved it. It was fun. I miss fun. I miss getting to go to the movies and leave and be excited, like the very first time I saw the very first Iron Man, how happy I was to leave. And I'm like, I am Iron Man, dumb shit like that. To enjoy a movie because of the premise of the movie and the character that you're getting to see when you go. And I'm glad I've distanced myself enough from the intricacies of every detail, knowing every detail about something, even Star Trek or Star Wars or any of that. I don't know so much about all of the intricacies of the person who wrote the book or the story or whatever that I've distanced myself. Maybe it's because of my profession or whatever. I separated myself from a lot of it simply because I didn't want it to ruin my chances of getting to see a movie and enjoy it because I didn't like someone that was in it or something about it. It would take away from my joy of the actual stories. So I try to stay out of all that part of it as much as I can. And that's what I recommend to a lot of people. If you're so involved in every detail of who's writing a story or their politics views or any of the things that's going to take away your joy from ever getting to read their book. Or when I started hearing things about Stephen King, I stopped letting them talk to me about it anymore because I loved Stephen King's stories so much that I just said I don't want to hear about his politics. And that's why I get so mad at a lot of the stars when they start blabbing their mouth on whatever show or TV series or award shows or any of that stuff. I don't watch any of them anymore because once they start blabbing their mouth, I can't watch them anymore. I just cannot buy a ticket to their film because the person that I wanted to see on camera is not that person anymore. They're the person that I saw bitching about this, that, and the other. So I can't, like the first time I saw the actor in The Witcher after seeing him as Superman, I had a really hard time. It took almost 3 episodes before I could accept him as The Witcher because I had to deprogram myself to visualize him as another character. So I've tried to not, I work really hard at trying not to box someone in to a part because that's not what we should do. We should try not to do that. So I'm trying to teach myself not to do that so I can enjoy the future of an actor. But if they go out and start blabbing, or a singer or any of these people start blabbing about things that they think they know better than me about what's healthy for me and stuff like that, it ruins it. I can't watch their stuff anymore. So I try to distance myself from that aspect of those people's lives. So it won't take away my joy of being able to have 2 hours of watching a movie without their big nose in my business, if that makes any sense. Sorry, Bruce. I went on a rant.
You're good. And it was said, like somebody recognized, like, you enjoy the moments, ladies and gents. Janet is expressing what's really important in the hobby. Fuck the politics and all the other bullshit. That step into another realm. It's wonder and discovery.
And that's exactly how I felt. I really felt like maybe I'm kind of glad that my sister went with me and none of my friends or any of you guys got to go with me, because I probably would have embarrassed you really bad. I mean, I was so excited. I almost wanted to take my plastic dragon and have it sitting on my shoulder the whole time I was at the movie. That sounds stupid, but I would do it in a heartbeat. And that's why a lot of people can't handle me, because I'm not embarrassed to do that. I'm not embarrassed to dress up in a costume that says Queen of Comics and have a crown and all that and dress up and go see a Marvel movie, you know.
And you guys don't have to agree with me. You guys can disagree with me on that.
If everyone's pointing at me and laughing, that's okay too. I don't have a problem with it.
I'm not a big fan of the D&D label anymore. I grew up playing it. There's other games out there. I'm writing my own based on a previous edition of it. I recognize it's the elephant in the room. That's great. I'm happy for it. But I'm going to pilfer a lot of players away. And I encourage other creators to do the same. I encourage people that want to honor the hobby to not play it, because there's too many people that got blinders on. We can only play official D&D content. We can only play the newest official edition. And you got to kind of take these people baby steps away and be like, listen, there's other games these guys have written. There's other things these guys have done. And if you show them these games, they might find a new way to enjoy themselves in the tabletop hobby. And Max said earlier, he's like, every time I hear Janet say D&D, she plays D&D, I replace it in my head with tabletop role-playing game, and it's fine. And that's kind of how I feel, because D&D's been a burr in my ass for over fucking 15 years. They've shit the bed for 15 years. And I know some people don't like third edition.
It's not called D&D?
Mine,
what you're doing?
It's Pathfinder.
But what's the difference? To me, it's Dungeons and Dragons. That's what we're playing.
That right there, there's nothing wrong with that statement, because that is the perception that somebody has when they haven't been in the hobby for a long time. I thought we were playing D&D. We basically are.
I've been in it until I met you.
Yeah, and that's fine. Kronos.
Oh, it's not called that. What is it called? You're going to call it Pathfinder?
Pathfinder. And that's the version.
I'll try to remember that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But like D&D, Pathfinder, it's all the same stuff. You sit down, you roll dice, you roll this big golf ball thing a chunk of times, and then you roll these other dice, and whatever it is, it could be Vampire the Masquerade or Dungeons and Dragons. But the part of the hobby that matters the most is you sitting down with friends, preferably at the same table.
See this? It's backward.
You're good.
Printed this out and laminated it so I could lay it here on my desk while I'm playing with my little bag of dice, so that I can try to learn how to roll and what I'm supposed to roll when I got these little. Let me pull it up here.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see it, but see, it's got little skulls in it.
Yeah.
I special ordered these so I'd have cool little my own dice, all because I wanted to play something I never got to play when I was a kid. And now I'm a grown-up kid that gets to play, and it's new to me, and I love it. I love doing it. And I have grown-up friends that just look at me and are embarrassed to be around me while I'm talking about it. But, it's just the way it is. I could die tomorrow, but I'd be glad that I got to do this.
Yeah, and that's yeah, that's exactly how it is. I mean, you just have to learn what you enjoy and just go for it.
But if you don't try, if you don't make an effort, you don't try anything new, how do you know what you're missing? You don't even know what you're doing because you're not doing it.
Well, one of these days,
You know,
I
you
promised
could
my
die
friend.
tomorrow and you've never tried something because you were worried someone was going to laugh at you or point their finger at you or go, "Oh, I can't believe you're doing that." Don't tell them. Don't tell
Um,
anyone if you don't want anyone to know. Just do it anyways because you need to say to yourself when you look in the mirror, I did it. I tried it. I made the best choice I could to do it. It didn't work the way I wanted it, but I made an effort and I tried to do it, you know,
Yeah.
instead of saying, "Oh, I wish I tried that," when it's too late.
I'd much rather have my friends try things and at least experiment. Um, I really appreciate everybody being in here. We've gone for almost 3 full hours talking about the various things in our lives, from
It doesn't
chicken.
seem like it's been that long.
I know. Our nights go by quick. Really enjoy having you on with this show, Janet. And we will be starting a new endeavor here in the next month. Oh wait, before I talk, we will be doing a political stream on every other Saturday night on Rumble. And me and Janet are gonna probably fumble through it. We're gonna boomer through it. We're gonna get good at it, but it's gonna be more of a no holds barred sort of thing. I did a test on Rumble last night. It seems to upload pretty well, so I'm pretty happy with my result. I'll figure it out and look forward to having some of my friends from here check us out. I did that test last night. I mentioned some things about the Nashville shooting that I can't talk about on YouTube because YouTube's a bunch of pansies. Okay. Hey, Legion of Myth, have a good night. Thank you so much. Janet from Another Planet, it is your movie pick for episode 50. And actually, episode 50 would be our 1-year anniversary. But what do you want to talk about next week? Dan Aykroyd.
I would
John
like us
Belushi.
to watch this movie. This is the one I want. That's why I wanted to go get it. But I want to watch it.
Okay.
I think it's an awesome movie. I think it's fun. It's got music in it. It's like a musical, basically. And we haven't done a musical, have we?
Not yet.
Since Victor Victoria. That's it.
Yeah,
That was my
it was
choice.
one, and I really like that movie. You thought I did not like the movie. I love that movie.
I didn't know if you would, but yeah, you said I could pick movies that I wanted to watch. And I've watched a few of your movies that I didn't really like it, but I watched them because I'd never seen them. So I think this is a really good movie for especially anyone who hasn't seen it before. It's different than what we've been doing, but it's a good movie. It's got action, it's got comedy, it's got music. I think it's got a lot of things that everyone will like, or someone will like something from it. So we'll see.
Fantastic.
Thank you guys, everyone who came. I love talking about movies. I love movies. I think entertainment is very important for being a normal person, because you need a break from reality sometimes. And I think it's important that people watch movies.
I, as a gamer, as a hobbyist, as a person that enjoys painting up a kinku, which is a funny little humanoid bird thing,
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to talk about this movie. This is like The Blues Brothers is a movie that I have watched since I was 5, and I've probably seen that movie more times than any other film from start to finish. In fact, every time my parents and I have gotten together since 2008,
Mhm.
That movie, if it's not watched in its entirety, we will watch part of it. It seems like that, and when I say that, I mean like we're going to hang out for more than one single day. If we're going to hang out for a couple days, the Blues Brothers gets put in the VCR, DVD player, whatever we've got available. We've got the media for Blues Brothers.
And it
If we-
has Carrie Fisher in it.
Yes, Carrie
And
Fisher,
it's
who's on my
another reason
desktop.
why. I
I've
thought
had
it
it.
was really good, especially with a lot of the people that are in our chat on Monday nights, and I think they all have a special place in their heart for Carrie Fisher. So, and Dan Aykroyd, two people, and I think I just think it's a good movie to watch to make you happy. And right now, with so much stuff that's going on, we need happiness. Yeah, see how young she was. That picture.
Yeah, that's my desktop for the past 4.5 years, and nothing's going to change that. So.
Nobody
Right.
can be smoking hot their whole life. Everybody has gravity, the sun, bad diet, all those things affect you as you get older.
Yeah,
But
that's
the thing
the truth.
is, you should grow old with people that you love, people that you care about, and because they're going to get old with you. So you're not alone.
No, you're not.
You all fit together, and you can all look at each other and just be happy that you knew each other as long as you've known each other, and love each other for what's on the inside. That's all that should really matter.
Anyway, Travis J7 1975 says, "Do you know what Carrie Fisher would be doing right now if she was alive?" I'm pretty certain it'd be a bump of cocaine, but that's just me. I'm
You didn't do that all the way up until she passed, did she?
I believe she did. If she wasn't on that, she was on some other sauce. I know that much.
So sad.
My name is Bruce. My co-pilot here, Janet, who's been with me for 3 hours. Appreciate every single one of you that have been in here with us tonight. We look forward to entertaining you next week as we talk about the 1980 comedy musical classic, The Blues Brothers. You want to lead us out, Janet?
Yeah. If anybody's going to be going into any chats after this space, send me a message and let me know, because we can still talk and stuff. I'm wide awake. I'm not ready to go to bed or anything. So I'd be happy to visit and hang out with everybody in the chat if I know where anybody's going.
If you guys want to go raid Culture Casino, they're doing yelling at parked cars.
Oh, that's right. That's Comics Division, though, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay. You said Culture Casino, so I was like, he has a show?
Yes, he does.
He has a great show.
No, I mean tonight.
It's tonight, right now.
Oh, I thought it was Comics Division's show.
It's Comics Division. I believe it's Comics Division. Are you serious?
And Culture will be on it with him. Or does he have his own show separate?
Never mind. It's already over. Damn it.
I'm
Darn.
sorry. Yeah, I used to always be there and watch. That's how I met a lot of people, is by being in those chats. And now that we're doing this, I don't get to see them as much anymore. But this is fun. I wouldn't miss it for anything.
Yeah, I kind of fucked up. I was gonna send you guys to a stream that's already ended. I gotta share something with you because I fucked it up.
Uh-oh. Bernie Sanders?
All right, I'm done. I can only handle so much of her.
Is it a girl?
I hate that little girl.
Oh, I didn't know if it was a girl or a boy. Pretend to be a girl.
It's yeah. We will be go ahead and message us through various discords, and Janet might be picking up something here. She might be doing a stream later on. Janet, you if you're going to be wide awake, do you want to try StreamYards tonight?
Do a what?
Do you want to try StreamYards tonight?
I mean, you mean me try to do
Yes, you.
something?
Yes.
I guess I can, but I still don't know how to put people
Okay.
on it.
Okay, I'm going to show you how to do it. Guys, if you'll be here in about 15 minutes on Janet's channel, I'm going to have her go live, and she's going to do her first panel show.
But do I do it from my Streamlabs or do I do it from YouTube?
I would set it up on StreamYard.com, and I'll show you how to do that. And you're going to be a wizard at this. Streamlabs, a lot of people get confused on. StreamYard, you should be all right with.
Yeah, because I paid money to do it, and I haven't been able to. I've done a couple lives, but I haven't been able to add anyone because I don't. Nobody can jump on it with me.
I'll show you. We're going to end this tonight, right now, and we're going to go to tech support in about 30 seconds. Keep your Twitters open. Janet's going to be posting a invite in her Discord, and we're going to get her over this hurdle because you have to pay money.
You feel sorry for me.
No Chronos. You don't have to pay money.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We'll see you in a bit, guys. Thank you so much
Bye.
for being part of our
Thank you
stream.
for coming. Thank you so much.